TV, listen to me, double trouble. I overhaul and I'm coming from the lower level. I'm taking tabs, showing up stuff to grab like shirts and it hurts. With a neck direct to control, cause our soul took control from the education of a TV station. But look around, here go the sound of a record ball, boom and pound. When I shut them down, I shut them down. Shut them down, shut them down. I shut them down. Shut them down, shut them down. I shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. I shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. I shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. I shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. I shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. I shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. Come on. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What I use in a battle for the mind. Hit it hard like it's supposed. Pulling up blows to the nose like Uncle L said I'm ripping up stones. Then what it is only 5% of the bins I'm adding wounds. That's the way it goes. So you think I rank. I never drank point blank. I own loans. Suckers got me running from the bank. Civil liberty, I can't see the pay a fee. I never saw a way to pay except to read the law. Then become a victim of a lawyer. Don't know you never saw a tape cued. Getting me sued, playing games with my head. What the judge said, put me in. Got me thinking about
Y'all remember that right there? That PE right there? That shut them down. That's when rap was a message as a whole, man. That's when rap had crazy messages. That type of music was good for rap. That type of music was good for rap. There's music that's good for rap and good for the culture and good for the image. There's music that's not good for the culture and good for the image. Not good for the kids. It's not good for the kids. That got me to thinking about today's show when I was listening to some Public Enemy last night, planning for today's show, about what's good and bad about rap. We just saw the Grammys. We just saw Chance the Rapper, an independent artist, win a Grammy, showing that you don't have to sell out. You don't have to fall into the coup. As my brother, Miss, you know him as a Miss. I call my brother, I always call him T. But an independent, very successful independent artist in Northern VA stated yesterday on social media, it proves you don't have to be a clown nor part of the circus. I love that. You don't have to be a clown nor part of the circus to win a Grammy. And that got me thinking about today's show, and it got me thinking about the state of today's sports. The NBA, Major League Baseball, the NFL, college football, college basketball, women's college basketball, the Olympics, international soccer, Barclays, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, all these different sports, all these different tons of leagues. And there's good stuff about sports. And then there's things that are just bad for sports. Not that it's not a good thing happening. It's bad for sports. There's certain music today that's bad for music. There was certain music that used to be good for music. It might have been good music. Doesn't mean it was good for music. Strip clubs are good, but it doesn't mean that they're good for the community that they're set up in, or good for the lives and the future of the women who dance in them, or the men who are even going there. Half of them are married and cheating and trying to hook up with strippers and take them out. Doesn't mean it's good for them. There's certain things in sports that may not be good, but there's things that it's bad for the game, and vice versa. I have a list here that I compiled about some things that I think were really good for sports as a whole. Not only their league, just sports as a whole. Jordan 6 championships. That was good for sports. It spurred an endorsement explosion, not just for NBA players. We started to see more NFL players get these endorsements. We started to see more soccer players, baseball players, just people from all different sports. We're seeing head coach. It drove it towards the Patriots. It drove it towards Tom Brady. It drove it towards Bill Belichick. There were more people. I saw more celebrations in the second quarter of a Super Bowl. When I went back and watched the internet and I went back and watched stuff online, there were more second quarter celebrations and bragging that I have ever seen in my entire life in any sporting event in my life. That's how many people wanted the Patriots to lose that game so bad. And guess what it ended up being? One of the highest rated football games of all time. That's global. It's the most watched one event. The same exact thing happened when they got to the league. If you're listening live right now to VJs on Sports Like Content live on Spreaker.com, I'm your host, VJ Wright. Hashtag 8515. I forgot to introduce myself and introduce the show. I was so excited about the topic today. What's good and what's bad for sports? But I do see some technical difficulty. The live keeps going in and out. So if you guys are getting cut off and cut back in, I apologize. I don't know why Spreaker does this to me. I think they do this to me to slow down my listeners. Because I do want to thank you guys. I am about to hit a milestone of 16,000 listens in less than, I would say, it's 8 months. So I really appreciate that, everybody. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate everybody's support, everybody love. It's all love over here, man. You can say what you want to say. You can call in and give your opinion how you want to give it. You can jump in the chat box and say what you want to say. I never take any of it personally. I start to actually think those are my favorite listeners now. The ones that call in and just always have something side negative or throw some shade to throw, or get in the chat room and have some shade to throw. Those are actually my favorite listeners. So my friends and family, I know you guys are going to be there for me. I'm going to be honest with you. I need that other side, though. I need that other side. That's what I'm going for. I'm going for the ones that so-called may not like the show, or I've been called mainstream. That's funny. Well, you guys are talking stats and numbers and games. Yeah, that's what sports are getting. Well, you guys are talking about a player's feelings. Well, that's the storyline, bruh. This is radio, man. You want to be successful? You gotta move the storylines. I would love to talk more baseball, but as soon as I do, the needle turns. Unless I'm talking about somebody's favorite team, and they talk enough about the Dodgers out here, and I don't follow the Dodgers and know the Dodgers that well to talk the Dodgers for 2 hours. But I do thank everybody for tuning in. Listen, I'm going to take a quick break, come right back, see if we can get these technical difficulties fixed over here. VJs on Sports Like Conduct. Live right now out here, sunny Los Angeles. I walked Woodson this morning in a tank top and some hoop shorts with some Air Max sneakers, dog. And it's February 14th. In a tank top. And a little tank under joint, little Fruit of the Looms joint. Well, it don't say Fruit of the Looms no more, and the tag kind of wore out a little bit. I had this joint for a while. This shit just say Frooms. Yeah, this ain't Fruit of the Looms. It just say Frooms. Quick break, guys. When we come back, we'll get more into what is good and what is bad for sports. And also, I have a question I want you guys to think about, and we'll hit this later when we talk about can the Knicks be fixed, and is the NBA going backwards? Chasing in life is fine, guys. It really is. If you have what it takes to hold on to what you catch. Chasing. Think about that. A good woman, a good man, a job, a career, a break in life, a door to kick in so you can be noticed and be seen. Your children, your relationships, friendships, anything. You can chase all you money, religion, faith, conspiracy theories, whatever. You can chase all you want in life. All you want. But you better be able to have what it takes to hold on to what you catch. And that's the NBA's problem right now. I'll break it down even further when we come back. VJs on Sports Like Conduct live on Spreaker.com.
All right, y'all. I testified, my mama cried, black people died when the other man lied. See the TV, listen to me, double trouble. I overhaul and I'm coming from the lower level. I'm taking tabs, showing up, stuff to grab like shirts and it hurts. Willing neck direct, took a poll cause our soul took control from the education of a TV station. But look around, here go the sound of a record ball, boom and pound. When I shut them down, I shut them down. Shut them down, shut them down. I shut them down. What I use in a battle for the mind, hit it hard like it's supposed. trigger to the lead. No, my educated mind say suckers gonna pay. Anyway, there's gonna be a day cause the truth they roll in. Now posse up, hold from the ground, ready to go. Throw another round, pick up the ride. And suicide for the other side of town. When I find a way to shut them down, I shut them down. Shut them down, shut them down. I shut them down, shut them down. Shut them down, shut them down. Shut them down, shut them down. I shut them down, shut them down. Shut them down, I shut them down. Shut them down, shut them down. I shut them down, shut them down. Shut them down, I shut them down. Shut them down, shut them down. I shut them down, shut them down. Shut them down. Hold it. Come on. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Come on now. Hey. Who count the money in the neighborhood when we spending money to no end? Looking for a friend in a war to the core. Ripping up the poor in the stores until they give up, brother, kicking down doors. Then I figure I could get bigger. Look them dead in the eye and they wish the fence is pressurized. They don't really want it to be another race to attack in disguise. So give some money back. I like Nike, but wait a minute. The neighborhood supports, so put some money in it. Or corporations zone, they gotta give up the dough to my town, or else we gotta shut them down. I shut them down. 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 Sh settle down. All right, y'all, one more time. Here we go again. All right, come on. Get down. Hold it. Come on. Oh, wait a minute now.
Hey, VJs on SportsLikeCon, live on Spreaker.com. I'm your host, VJ Wright. Just because I always think I am hashtag 8515, man. We were just here talking about what's good and what's bad for sports. What's good and what's bad for sports. And we were discussing Jordan's 6 rings, Kobe and Shaq, the Dallas Cowboys, Pat's domination, Lakers versus Celtics. I gave you something else that was good for sports, too, that got people talking outside of the realm, drove more interest into the sport itself, brought the interest in the sport up, and actually made people choose sides. I believe when you have to choose sides, that's good for sports. When you have to say either Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, that's good for sports. Jordan versus Bird, Magic, good for sports. When you even look at hockey, Sid the Kid, Ovechkin, that's good for sports. Now, we don't respect hockey the way we should here in America, so we suffer from that, but that's still good for sports. Because the casual sports fan probably has heard who Alex Ovechkin is, who's playing in the nation's capital, or who Sidney Crosby is, who's playing for an historic hockey franchise, winning Stanley Cups. We pay attention to the Olympics as Americans, and our men's team has been pretty good lately. It has helped Americans really see who some of these European and foreign players are when the Olympics comes around. I think it's been outstanding for sports. But I give you a few other things. Global expansion, that's an easy one. Good for sports. The Pistons bad boys, and I know someone out there is going to say I'm homering, but no, I'm not, because listen to why it made it good for sports. Michael Jordan himself, the great Jeffrey Jordan, the great Air Michael Jordan, MJ, Mr. Clutch, number 23, with the 4-5, and then back to the 23, even though he dropped a double nickel on Spike Lee's Knicks at the Garden. Y'all remember that commercial? But Michael Jordan himself has said, if it wasn't for the bad boys, we don't get Jordan. What's the first thing that I mentioned? What was good about sports? The first example I gave you was Jordan's 6 rings. We don't get that without the bad boys. The bad boys were finally able to take out the Celtics, and then the Lakers. They battled for years. Jordan took out the Pistons. Jordan went running. Jordan walked away. We got introduced to Kobe and Shaq. Then there was this monster of a fundamental player at a Wake Forest by the name of Tim Duncan. Then you get a high school kid from Farragut Academy in Chicago named the Big Ticket, Kevin Garnett. Then you get a guy who gets out of jail on a pardon from Douglas Wilder by the by the advice of John Thompson. He goes to Georgetown and sets the world on fire by the name of AI. That was all good for sports. AI was a crossover athlete. He is a legend. AI single-handedly changed the image of an entire league in 2 to 3 seasons by himself. That's good for sports. The bad boy Pistons playing tough. That's what most of America is made up of. Most of America is not made of the 1%. There's 1%, guys. There's 1% of the evil and criminal. There's 1% of the good and the rich and the white. Everybody else is in the middle. We like our teams tough. We like our athletes tough. What's the knock on LeBron? 6'9", 260, flops. Soft. What's the knock on Tom Brady besides the flake gate? He cries when he gets hit. He doesn't want to get tough. We don't like that. But we liked Brett Favre. Brett Favre took a hit and would get up, talk trash to Warren Sapp. And I'm not a Brett Favre guy, but that's what he would do. I got to respect that. I can't disrespect that and diss that because I'm not a Favre guy. John Elway was a scrambling running quarterback, lowering his helmet. He was tough. Troy Aikman used to take it in the chin on tough. We like our athletes tough. Isaiah Thomas was tough. Magic was tough. Bird was tough. We like our athletes tough. There was not a tougher team than the 85 Bears and I want to say the 2000 Ravens and the 88, 89, and 1990 Detroit Pistons. You'd be hard pressed to find 3 tougher teams in any sport in any year than those 3 I just gave you. But each of those teams were great for the sport. The Ravens reminded us you don't have to score 40 a game to win the Super Bowl. That was great for sports. You look around the country, you look around the world. Now we got this image of a championship team, and they do it by being tough, being hard-nosed. That talks to the middle class. That's what makes it good for the sport. When you talk to a certain class of people, and when you change and incite emotion and opinion, that's good for sports. Mike Tyson, he was good for sports, not just boxing, sports. He crossed over. He was on Arsenio. He was in rap videos. He was hanging out with Tupac. He was hanging out with Biggie. Mike Tyson changed not only the sport, he changed sports when he came around. Bo Jackson was great for sports. Deion Sanders was great for sports. And on the flip side, there's some things that's not good for sports. It's bad for sports. There's some things that's bad for sports, and some of these you guys aren't going to agree with, but this is what it is. And I'm leading into something here, guys. Remember, chess never checkers. I'm leading into my first topic and the big story that I want to really talk about today. But if I go at it this way, and I preface it by what's good and bad for the sport, not the accomplishment isn't great, and I probably just gave it away right there. Damn it, VJ. It's all good. I still can do it, though. But I'm going somewhere with this, guys. So let's flip over to what's bad for sports. My opinion. This is all opinion. But this is what's bad for sports. No Tiger on the PGA, that's bad for sports. Not just golf, it's bad for sports. Because what it does, this is a psychological thing right here. If you see no Tiger, it starts to remind you of all the American sports that are played here, all the sports that are played in America that you just don't like. It reminds you of how much you think baseball's so slow and so boring and NASCAR's so stupid. That's not what I think. That's what the masses think. NASCAR isn't national. It's on national TV. It's really a southern thing. It really is. Most of those drivers live in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. That's where most of them live. Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's worth $200 million. He lives in the country of North Carolina. He didn't go to New York and buy a mansion in the Hamptons. He didn't come out to LA to Beverly Hills. He didn't go to the Hollywood Hills and buy himself a nice mansion or move out to Thousand Oaks where Kevin Hart just bought his new big ass house and live out there next to Tom Cruise and Will Smith and the Kardashians. No, he lives on his ranch, on his land in country in the middle of nowhere in North Carolina. It's not national, guys. It really isn't. People in Seattle are not clamoring for NASCAR races to come there. They're not clamoring for them to get a track there. Why do you think they've been racing at the same tracks for like the last 30, 40 years? It's the same tracks every year. No Tiger on the PGA, that's bad for sports because it reminds people of all the other sports that are just boring or stupid or they just don't like. When Serena pulls out of any tournament, not just Grand Slams, any tournament, it's bad. Not saying she's bad, not saying Tiger's bad, but the act of it, with the result of it, it's bad. Venus is older. She's on her way out. We get that. That's why I think the good football gods and the Lord blessed her with an Aussie final against her sister, which we all stayed up and watched. I know I did. Sidebar, I watch a lot of soccer, and there's the round of 16 going on right now in La Liga, and Barcelona's down right now 2-0. What Barcelona? What the Neymar? Messi? What the hell is going on? You guys want to wake up? Sleepwalking out here, man, down right now 2-0. Told y'all I do this sports thing, man. I just don't watch the big ones. Right now up in the Sports Talk Batcave on the big Panasonic 1080p screen right now. We got the La Liga going on right now. That's what's interesting right now. PSG 2-0 at half over Barcelona. This is around the 16th first leg of La Liga. Towards the end of the year, this is when you start playing all the tourneys and some other games come on later on today. We'll get into that in a little bit. But anyway, when Serena Williams is not on tour, when she's not playing, it's bad for sports. Floyd Mayweather, whether you guys like it or not, he's bad for sports. He didn't used to be, but he is now. And he has been for the last 5-6 years. He's bad for sports. He can monopolize a sport. He can take all the money. That's fine. I'm not hating. That's not. I want every black man that's not out here robbing, stealing, and killing and doing it the honest way to make as much money as they possibly can here. Because ain't nobody going to give it to us. So I'm not knocking him for that. But he's not good for the sport. He's not good for sports. It's got a little history. We ain't going to go there. He served his time. He served his debt to society. That's what they say we're supposed to do now. So I'm going to ride with that. He's got a little history with T.I. and his wife. I never ride on that side because you don't mess with a man's wife. You don't bring it up. You get something on the side. She decided to do something. You keep that in house, bruh. You keep that in pants, man. You don't go on the radio. It was like, oh, why? Because I was fucking with his B? Nah. But that's not good for sports. It's a negative image. It's bad. And I've been saying for the last, I guess, 4 or 5 months, people kept asking me, is this McGregor thing? When I mean UFC fans or boxing fans, I start talking UFC boxing, whether I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings or I'm sitting over at Fox Sports 1 or I'm sitting over with the stables at Mark Mancini and friends at Blog Talk Radio out here, and we're just talking sports at UFC or boxing. I've been asked over the last 4 or 5 months, VJ, you like boxing? You think the Mayweather-McGregor thing is going to happen? I always say, yeah, it will. When Mayweather wants it to, it will. He spends money. People say, oh, he got money. He spends money. He takes care of a lot of people. I was courtside at a Laker game and was sitting maybe about 30, 40 feet from the dude. He had almost the whole front row brought up because they were all with him. They all got up and left with him. He watched one half in one seat and watched the second half in another seat on the other end so he could see the team going down to that end. He brought like 25, 30 seats. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the only night he does that. He's got a black fleet of cars and a plane in one city. He's got a white fleet of hard to get, exotic, cars and a plane in one of this. That stuff costs. It costs to keep them cars. It costs to keep that plane. He made money, but he spent money too. So as soon as the money was right, think about how much money he need to really get out of this. When he tell him, I'll give him $15 million and I'll give him $25 million in cash to fight. You've never made that before, McGregor. You've never made that payday. Not even close to it. I'll give him $25 million in cash. Because he's going to make $100 for stepping in the ring, and then about $210, $230 off the pay-per-view. And there's another $300+ million pay. Last 3 fights, all $300 million plus at the end of the day. Close to $1 billion. But he spends a lot of money. This fight was going to happen. But he's bad. Now, this fight may be good for sports because, once again, it crosses over. We are at a super divided time in this nation right now. You are going to have people. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm going with Floyd. I don't have to tell you why. Most of you already know. I'm going when the fight's going to happen. When it happens, don't ask me. Floyd all day. I don't want to hear about McGregor. I don't want to hear about nothing that he did. I don't want to hear about none of his tactics, none of his style, none of his techniques, what you know about. I don't care. Don't come up to me talking to me about that. I'll keep it 100 on this one. I'm going to just be myself as I always am. I'm going with Floyd, man. I'm going with the dude. I'm going with the dude that, real talk, I'm going with the dude that looks like me. Looks like what I come from. One thing I've always said about Floyd, he keeps it classy. He's not out talking about, as far as fighting goes, the whole T.I. storyline, that was very unclassy. Very unclassy. Fighting and competition-wise, he keeps it classy. I've always respected that about him. But he's bad for sports, though. He's not a big image thing. You had Ronda Rousey throwing his name around on the red carpet at ESPYs. She's so damn dumb. We trying to let this thing die down of his domestic violence, and she brings it right back up. It's so cool. It's okay for certain pigmentations to do that. You guys know that. It's okay for certain pigmentation to get away with that, where it's, all right, winner, and now he knows what it feels like to be beaten by a woman. Well, so do you. Twice. Real fast. Both of them. Quick in a hurry. Get her out of here. You're out of here. Rhonda, I'm so glad I don't have to hear about her anymore. I really am. Not that I wanted her to lose. No. I'm just happy she'll now quietly go away. That wasn't good for sports. UFC, there's another one. It's not good for sports. UFC's not good for sports. Half their fighters keep getting hit for PEDs and HGH. Half of them. Dana White doesn't pay these guys. You guys, it's funny. We all hated Don King. Dana White's doing the same thing. Buying out Bellator, buying out all these other companies where these guys can probably make a name and make some money for themselves, but then bringing them all under here and then shafting most of them. I.e. Vince McMahon with WWE. Let's buy out WCW. Let's buy out ECW. We'll bring everybody over here. We'll steadily work guys in and out the door that we want. Don't worry. We'll work them when they're hurt. They don't have a choice. They can't go anywhere else. Monopolizing an industry is not good, guys. That's not good. Monopolizing a sport, it's not good for the sport. The Celtics run in the 50s and 60s. That wasn't good for sports. It was good for Celtic fans. It was good for good old Lucky Leprechaun, good old Boston City. It was good for them. It wasn't good for sports. There were 10 teams in the league. It's not good when you got 8, 9 teams in the league and there's one team that wins like 11 out of 13 or 12. That's not good for sports. And I don't even know if it was good for the NBA because at some point somebody said, okay, we got to expand the league. They didn't start making money until the 80s and 90s, guys. They weren't making no money in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. That's the league included. There was no tape delay. There were no TV deals. There were no endorsement deals. But they had to kind of expand the league so we can make this thing a little more fair. This isn't good for sports. College coaches, protected college coaches, it's bad for sports. It's bad for sports. I could give you example after example. Urban Meyer, Florida, protected college coach. You know what was bad for sports? Because we overgraded a guy overjudged a guy named Tim Tebow. We don't have to rehash it. We all know who Tim Tebow is. We already know what he did in Florida, and then we all know what he did for half of a year in Denver, and then never ever again. But because of his protected college coach, Urban Meyer, we never could see it that way. We weren't allowed to see it that way. Remember, that was a team that had some guys that had some checkered issues going on. Guys, Reggie Nelson, Percy Harvin, dare I say, Aaron Hernandez. But because they had a protected college coach, We didn't know or find out or get close to knowing that Aaron Hernandez on the campus of 20 to 25,000 enrolled students had drugs and guns in his dorm room. In his dorm room. Look at the Mixon situation out in Oklahoma. And I'm not saying this is Stoops' fault, but you haven't protected college coaching sports. Then this Mixon incident, now the video comes out, and it's, well, why did you play him? And why did you this? And why did... It's bad for sports. You got 19 and 20-year-old college kids, for whatever the reason is, or whatever the girl struck him first. I get all that. I'm just talking about whether it was good or bad for sports. That's bad for sports. Why is that bad for sports? Because he hasn't protected college coach. I may not be a Coach K guy, and I may have my opinions about Coach K, but when he kicked Rasan Suleiman off the team and then he eventually just left school, at least we didn't have to see a video or rehash the story later. But that's what protected coaches do too. They'll just get rid of you also. That's not good for sports. Nick Saban, he's a protected college coach. It allows him, and I will say over the last maybe year, he's loosened up a little, because I think someone has got to him and said, Nick, listen, man, you cannot be upset and show upset on the sideline when you're 18, 19, and 20-year-old young men who you sat in each and every one of these living rooms just about and told their mother and father, grandma, grandpa, auntie, big brother, big sister, cousin, whoever is sitting there, that you would take care of their kid, and you get to a national championship game and you win and they douse you with Gatorade. You cannot make that damn face. You can't make that damn face. Are you kidding me? Have some fun, loosen up. Stop being an asshole to the press. We know you're a protected college coach, but you're talking to someone from CBS. You're not talking to someone from the Tuscaloosa Reserve newspaper. You're not talking to somebody from the Birmingham Journal. We're talking to someone from CBS who holds our conference's contract to televise our games. Mind you, which your team has shown in about 5 or 6 of them a year, lighten up. It's bad for sports. The head coach gets doused with Gatorade and he's pissed off towards his team. He can't smile. That's not good for sports. That's bad for sports. I know they can win a championship there, but do I want my kid to go play for Nick Saban? Or would I rather my kid go play for Jimbo and know for at least 4 years in a row, or at least 3 out of those 4 years, they're going to contend for a national championship and have just as much as a shot to play for as Alabama does. But at least my kid's going to play for, just honestly, a nicer guy. We like nice guys in America. We like nice guys in our sports, right? We do. I like some nice guys. I like some assholes too. I like Rashid. I like Isaiah. I like Dan. I like Rafael Nadal. I like Jeff Gordon. I like Kobe. I don't mind an asshole. Sometimes you gotta be in life. But I like nice guys too. I like Peyton Manning. I like guys like Curtis Martin was one of my favorite players when he was playing in the NFL. Bo Jackson was a nice dude. Ken Griffey Jr. was a nice guy. There's some people that they're just nice. They don't have that. That's why I like Durant. Durant just has, he's really a good dude, but now he knows he's just got to play this villain role, and that's fine. I don't understand why these players feel like they have to be the villain, man. The fans will make you the villain. You don't have to be the villain. Real villains are legends. Guys like Barkley, Rodman, they were just real villains. Mahorn, Lambert, they were just real villains. And that's fine. Somebody's got to wear the black hat. My favorite comic book character of all time, it's not a good guy. My favorite comic book character of all time, it's not a good guy. It's not the guy that goes and saves the day. But it's also not the guy in armor with 30 guns attached to it and grenade launchers and whatnot. It's not that guy either. My favorite comic book character is not even a good guy, man. One of my favorite movie characters ever. If you guys have never seen this movie, it's outstanding. Most people know who Johnny Depp is. Johnny Depp is an outstanding actor. I'm a big Pirates fan. One of the best characters I've ever seen in any movie is the guy he plays in Secret Window. If you have not seen Secret Window, you need to just go buy. It's like $3.99 in the bin at Walmart right now. Secret Window is an outstanding movie and Johnny Depp steps outside of his normal characters at that point in his career, and this movie, and the ending will flip you the F out. I'm telling you, it will flip you out. When I first saw the end of this movie, I could not believe, and I don't get that with movies nowadays. I don't really get, oh my, what the hell? Okay, let me wait for the credits to finish rolling. Maybe there's something else. Not on that one. They left it right there. Like, wow. Oh, I picked up the DVD box and said, who wrote this? Let me see who this was written by. This was beautifully written. This was outstandingly written. Charles S. Dutton is in it. Rock. Remember that black show? Rock? Rock's in the movie too. But you don't always have to be a good guy. Sometimes we like bad guys. But sometimes bad guys aren't good for sports. AI was a bad guy who was good for sports. Kobe was a bad guy who was good for sports. The Bad Boys were bad guys, but they were good for sports. The Raiders were bad guys, but they were good for sports. Guys out here, bad guys that are like Pac-Man Jones, he's probably a bad guy. Like, seriously. He stayed on the right path to get some money and get his contracts going back up again and earn some money back. But your true colors always shine through. Pac-Man Jones is probably not a good guy. He's not good for sports. He's a bad guy. He's not good for sports. When you watch football games, you have to remember there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of kids watching. Real quick story. I'm going to take a break and then we're going to come back and I'm going to bring the topic that this is all coming from. Just real quick story. Remember Malice at the Palace? What's so forgotten about Malice at the Palace was the fights that broke out in college football the very next day. Rivalry Saturday. Do you guys remember the South Carolina Clemson fight? In the Miami International, the University of Florida Atlantic or Miami International game in Hurricane fight? I remember being at a house and a girl said to me, she's standing right next to the couch that I'm sitting on. We're watching the highlights. Me and my few homies were bugging. We're like, dog, you see this mess? She goes, cuz all they did was sit around and watch SportsCenter run that Piston-Pacer fight all damn night long. And I remember the night before, she had mentioned, she goes, they're going to run this all night long. These fools going to be fighting in sports all weekend. And we all just laughed it off, ha, 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 ha. No. It was almost one of the coolest things I've ever seen someone predict in sports ever. It was almost one of the coolest things I ever seen. And that right there, that is bad for sports. Look how it spilled over. Look how it spilled over now. The very next day, these college kids, and you know what? They have curfew. Think about it. They got curfew. They're confined to their hotel, especially the teams that are on the road. They're confined to the hotel. What are kids watching back in 04? What was that? 04, 05, 06? Malice at the Palace was 05. I want to say November 05. I want to say it was November 05. Pistons won in 04, and then they came back the following year, and then went to 7 games. That's right. They went to 7 games 05 against the Spurs. And then that was early that year. The Pacers were trying to get them back for them eliminating the Pacers when the Pacers were the number 1 seed 2 years ago. And the Pacers came in there and really manhandled the Pistons that night. I thought Ben Wallace took the foul, a little exceptional, but it was Ron Artest, and your name carries weight with you. Ron Artest, at one point, he was a bad guy. Wasn't good for sports. It turned into Malice at the Palace. Even if a fan did throw an empty cup with a few chips of ice in it, you cannot run up into the stands and start swinging on fans and not even really know if you're hitting or swinging at the right guy. You can't do that in sport. That's bad for sports. Look how that's turned over until you can't even say certain things on the NFL field anymore. You can't walk off the sideline in an NBA game anymore. If you step onto the court, automatic 1-game suspension. Look how they go review everything now. Look at how soft we are in the NFL on quarterbacks, on receivers, concussions, things of that nature. There's always something good and something bad for sports, guys. I must say that was a crazy opening rant right there. That right there is how you do it. That's how you do it. I'm just playing. I'm not that arrogant. You guys know that, man. Chat room is lighting up. G Money said somebody likes Johnny Depp on here. I see G Money's in the business. The Fish is in the building. Yo, Fish, I want to talk. Barbershop Podcast, homie. I'll be calling into your show. I saw your thing that you post up tonight. Expect a call from me. I want to get in there. Big Greco's in the building as always. Team broadcasting from the X Squad. I appreciate all you guys. X Squad always showing me mad love. Philip Acosta, what's up, man? My DMV. I bet you think the Wizards going to actually do something, huh? Everybody in the DMV posting the hashtagging Wiz Kids, Wiz Kids, Wiz Kids. In all honesty, you lost the game LeBron fouled out in, and you gave up 140 something damn points, guys. Like, don't hashtag shit after giving up 140 in a loss. Just saying. When we come right back, guys, I'm gonna bring this whole thing, what's good and bad about sports, full circle, and then we'll move on to some NBA and some New York Knicks talk. VJs and Sports with Light Conduct, live on Spreaker.com. VJs on Sports Like Conduct live on Spreaker.com. I'm your host, VJ Writers, because I always think I am. Hashtag 8515. What's good and bad about sports? Good stuff going on. Also, quick sidebar, breaking news earlier today. Orlando Magic trades Serge Ibaka to the Toronto Raptors. I do not think, and it's for Terrence Morris, former Louisville wingman, who I thought was really good at Louisville. I thought he was a good basketball player. I'm not sure why he hasn't been able to really excel in the NBA. Kid can shoot, long, lanely, plays defense on the perimeter very well. He's actually a really good rebounding guard. And don't go look up his numbers. Trust me, he's a good rebounding guard. But you got DeRozan getting a lot of rebounds as a guard there also. And Lowry is not too shabby himself at getting rebounds as a guard. He got some as a forward and a wingman out in Houston. Go look at those numbers there. I think he was a pretty good rebounding guard. But I'm not sure this move makes Toronto any better. It looked and it sounds more like desperation to me than anything else. It doesn't sound like a move that they feel confident about. It felt like more of a desperation move because they see things slipping away from them. They see Boston pushing ahead, the Wiz pushing ahead, and Cleveland's Cleveland. And it looked like more of a desperation move. I think what was in their mind is what Bismack Biyombo was able to do in the playoffs, guarding the rim, and Valanciunas getting hurt. I think they're saying, okay, if Valley don't get hurt, then we can actually, make some noise and actually make something happen in the Eastern Conference. Now, I don't agree with that. I think it's Cleveland's conference to win. Cleveland shouldn't lose no more than 2 or 3 games in each of those 3 rounds, and that's even against the Wizards. I said it right before we went to break. You don't get to brag about being close, guys. It just doesn't work that way. It just does not work that way. You don't get to brag about being close. But that was a quick sidebar. Orlando Magic. And hold on, sorry. Double sidebar. How many times have I said, whether it's back on my television show or out here on radio, just anywhere talking sports, how many times have I said the worst GMs? I just had this conversation with Chris Broussard the other day. I was out with lunch with Chris Broussard. I just had this conversation with Chris on Sunday, and I told him, NBA GMs, in my opinion, they're the worst professional sports GM. They have no idea what they're doing. 27 of them don't. 27 of them have no idea who they want, what they want their identity of their team to be, and how to compete in the NBA, which is really hard to do now because everybody wants to go play with each other. Thanks, LeBron, for the decision, which is another thing that was bad for sports. The decision was bad for sports, guys, because we really should be still enjoying Kevin Durant and Westbrook and Oklahoma City. We really should still be enjoying probably Wade, Bosh, and LeBron in Miami. I wouldn't have mind if he stayed. Wade leaves, go to Chicago. Bosh can't play. I can't tell y'all. I got an inside little source on the Bosh incident, but I'm big on my sources. I'm big on keeping my mouth shut. That's why I keep getting a lot of inside information. But oh my goodness gracious, I have got some really good inside info on Chris Bosh. Real good inside info on Chris Bosh. But I can't let it out like that. But the decision was bad for sports. We should still be seeing. We should have never had this past Saturday night. We should have never had this past Saturday night at all. Whether you like it or not, the Warriors, they're good for sports. Not right now. The Warriors that lost to the Cavs and beat the Cavs, they were good for sports. It lets the little guy, your son, some of you listeners out there, your son, who's not going to be any bigger than 6 feet, 6'1" maybe. He's not going to be built like LeBron. He's not going to have the quicks of an Iverson. He's not going to have the pedigree and the legendary gene and the killer gene of a Kobe and a Mike. But if he can learn to handle the ball, he can learn to shoot, and he's a tough kid, and learn to play the passing lanes and play some defense, your son can be Steph Curry, who has a very pretty wife, and she gets a cooking show, and their child is America's favorite daughter for 2 seasons in a row. They're America's favorite sports child for 2 years in a row. It actually made people not have to look at the big guy. It's almost like when you reference WWE, in the 80s, it was all big guys until guys like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels came along. Hogan's 6'7", 6'8", guys. He's not a little person. Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, Big Diesel, Kevin Nash, Diesel, 7 feet tall. Andre the Giant, 7'3". Big John Studd. Big guys. Macho Man, 6'5", 6'6". That wasn't really good. It was bad. What was good is when Rey Mysterio showed up. Chris Jericho showed up. Chris Benoit, Lord rest his soul, his mom, his wife's soul, and his kid. Man, Chris Benoit. Goodness gracious, man. What kind of demons did that guy have? Everybody thinks they got it so bad, man. I could give you some people that have had it way, way, way worse. But I thought the Warriors, I thought they were good for sport. It gives you a sense that the little guy can be all right, instead of just having the little man complex and feeling like you got to fight and scrap because only thing America cares about is big and shiny. Big, muscular, and shiny. That's what we care about. That's first. Big cars, big muscular, shiny men, big breasts, big butts. That's what we care about. Big bank accounts. That's what we care about. Big yachts, big houses, big and shiny. That's what we care about first. And we push the little guy and we push the middle class over to the side. And then some will fall off of that, and that's what becomes the poor. Same in society. It's the same in sports. You got the big shiny, the big rich, the big shiny, LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, Magic, Bird, Brady, Elway, Montana, Emmett, Barry, Dion, Bo, Ken Griffey Jr., Dale Earnhardt. Those the big shiny. They just kind of got everybody else. Clyde Drexler, Patrick Ewing, still good, but they're not the big shiny. Shaq's the big shiny. Duncan's the big shiny, but Duncan's the big shiny that acts middle class. There's some of those in there too. Iverson, the little man complex, got to go big, got to go shine. What the hell is AI doing in a custom navigator in that time in that day? That big ass thing, that is step stool to get into it. Little man complex. Got to get big and shiny, big jewels, big necklace, big diamonds, big rings, big fur coat. Look at fur coat. The longer it is, the more it drags on the ground. How many inches you got dragged? Big. That's what we want. That's what we care about first. We act like we don't, but it's exactly what we do. That's why many people fall for Valentine's Day. Happy St. Valentine's. Man, bump this holiday. Are you kidding me? I don't celebrate Columbus. You think I'm going to celebrate Valentine? Come on, man. Get out of here. Marketed and made up. Nice and shiny and pretty. Look at the box of chocolates that you brought today. Isn't the box nice and big and pretty and shiny? The roses are bigger, right? The roses are bigger. The roses are more red. The chocolates are bigger. They have more caramel and nougat and almonds inside. The bear is bigger this year and bigger than it was last year, and it's big and it's pretty and it's tan, so it's a bright color. It's shiny. It's what we do. Subliminal, people. Subliminal. My man Carl Webb said this is coming from the Big Vanilla Wafer. First of all, Mike Hill from Fox Sports 1 gave me that nickname. All right, so if you're gonna throw out my nickname, you gotta throw out like one I come like the Big Vanilla Handsome. Yeah. The Big Vanilla Funny. I'm the Big Vanilla Funny, man. Quick sidebar too. Sunday night, Comedy Store, world famous Comedy Store, Hollywood, California, 8 p.m. Anybody here in Los Angeles, come check me out. I'm breaking out my Bernie Mac impression. I ain't done it on stage. I think I did it on stage maybe once or twice and it got a good reaction. But I wanted to go home and work on it some more. I worked on it. It's damn near perfect now. I'm breaking it out Sunday. I'm the Big Vanilla Funny, Mr. Never Shut Up, Talk Too Much, VA Talk Boy. The Vanilla Shack, man, I'm the Blue-Eyed Barkley. This is what I do. But we like everything big. Rough Bus says, High Yellow Complex. I don't know about that. I don't have one. I don't know if I know any other light-skinned people or fair-skinned people. I don't like the term high yellow to me. I don't really, you know what I'm saying? People normally use me with that. They lose me with that one. High yellow. Nah, I'm light skinned. I'm fair skinned. I have a lighter complexion than you, but I'm not high yellow. That's like me calling you dark brown, dark black, blue black, black black. You know what I'm saying? That would be like the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So high yellow, you might want to stop using that term. You can just call people light skin or fair skin. But that high yellow, like that red bone thing, I never used that term with a woman before in my life. Yo, I got this bad little red bone. No, she ain't red. She's not. She's not red. She's not red bone. She's light skin. I always use the term light skin, fair skin. I'm light skin, vanilla. Just like it's like this is like Briars over here, man. And everybody likes Briars. But yeah, man, this is like Briars. You know what I'm saying? That's this vanilla-ness over here. But yeah, that Big Vanilla Wafer thing, Mike Hill gave me that nickname. Today he gave me the advice that my fan base, my target fan base, he said, is women between the age of 25 and 52. That was his advice. That was his straight up advice for me. He goes, your target is women between the age of 23, 25, and 52. And I never thought that. I talk sports. I love when the women jump in here, though. Definitely. Carl Webb says, I'm more than Ben and Jerry's. Carl is just in time, because with all that being said, guys, and being that we are talking about the women, I want to turn this focus of what's good and bad for sports onto something that happened last night. It's something that we've never seen in this said sport. Yo, hey Sean, give me some women, give me some girl music, dog. Give me some girl. Let's take care of the sisters on this one, man. Give me some girl music on this one, man. Play some girl music. What's that right there? No Gaga. Do not play no damn Lady Gaga, okay? She had a nice little Super Bowl performance. I dug her Grammy performance with Metallica. Whoever messed up Homeboy's mic need to be fired. You do not mess up his mic. Give me some girl music for this time. Right? Oh, her. And we just watched him do a dishy joint again. There we go. I like that. Nice, see, man. That's why I have you here, man. Right here. Good and bad for sports. When you look at what's good for sports and bad for sports, I saw something last night that I personally think is bad for sports. And you know what? I'm going to take a quick break because I'm going to get long-winded on this one. Quick break. When we come back, something that happened in sports last night, never been done before, but it was bad for sports. All that and more coming up. VJs on Sports with Like Conduct, Spreaker.com.
Need me, and when you always be there every night and every day, I'm always thinking of you in every way. All I know when I'm with you, you make me feel so good. Doing you, candy girl, oh my world, you're everything to me. So sweet, she makes my heart just skip a beat. My girl's the best, and that's no lie. She tells me that I'm her only guy. That might be true, but my girl's a joy. She don't play around, she's right to the point. My girl's like candy, a candy tree. She knocks me high up on my feet. Oh, candy, you look so sweet. Oh, candy.
VJs on Sports Like Conduct live on Spreaker.com. I had to play some girly music, man. I like that right there. And we just seen that shit right there too, man. Make sure you run that back. Listen, guys, good and bad about sports. Something happened last night that I want to really address and talk to you guys about why this is bad for sports. Last night, the UConn women's basketball team won their 100th straight game last night. Never been done in college sports before. Never been done in women's sports before. And 100 straight wins in a sport kind of lets me know and tells me that there is no reason in the world, unless you are a fan, and this would rank, if we had to rank the sports in America today, NFL, number 1. I would say NBA would be number 2. Number 3, I would say, would be college football. And college football could be number 2. So I would say college football, then college basketball, then baseball. NASCAR would probably come after that. I'm not sure where tennis would fit. I'm not sure where soccer would fit. Am I missing one here? I would say golf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sports before you would even think to mention WNBA or women's college basketball. Easily. Women's college basketball could be last. That's last out of 9 sports in this country. 9. And I didn't even put hockey on the list yet. I haven't even stuck hockey up there, so it could be number 10. Do you think them winning 100 games and there's already a monopoly on women's college basketball? And it was only gotten worse when the legendary Pat Summitt retired and walked away and then passed away. It's gotten even worse then because at least when it was Tennessee, at least when you had Baylor, at least with Notre Dame at a time, North Carolina Tar Heels, Charlotte Smith hits the jumper, the buzzer, with Marion Jones on that team to win that national championship. At least then there were other mega stars that could go to other teams and get other players that were great players in women's college basketball and go to those teams and then at least compete. Then it got to a point where it was just Tennessee and UConn. It was just Tennessee and UConn, and there were a few years where somebody else, I think Baylor jumped in there and snapped won a championship, and I think that's really it. I think there was Baylor, LSU. I think LSU snuck in there. Did Pokey Reese and LSU sneak in there and get one? I'm not sure. Simone Augustus with the LSU, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they got a national championship. Not sure, but for the most part, we got Host Claw, we're winning the championship. We got Candace Parker, we're winning the championship. We got Kara Larson, we're winning the championship. We have Diana Taurasi, we're winning the championship. We have Myra Moore, we're winning the championship. Rebecca Lobo, winning the championship. It's been this way. And now with Tennessee out of the way, it is strictly all UConn. This is not good for sports. You can't tell me a young 18, 16, 17, 15-year-old girl wants to go to Nebraska because she's from Lincoln and was born and raised in Lincoln, and maybe her mama and daddy went to Lincoln, and maybe one of her older brothers played linebacker at Lincoln. She wants to go there. She doesn't think they have a shot at winning the national championship. You can't. And I understand competitive spirit, but there is also competitive spirit and false hope. The Clippers have competitive spirit every year. You got Blake, you got Chris, you got DeAndre. You bring in Austin Rivers, you got Jay Crossover. You brought in Paul Pierce, you got JJ Redick. You bring in all these different pieces every year. Every year, the competitive spirit says we can go get this. Maybe we can knock off the Spurs this year. We can knock off Golden State this year. That's false hope, in my opinion. You have no shot, and it keeps showing and proving. Guys can't stay healthy, can't get out the second round. It's false hope right now. It's not competitive spirit. The women winning 100 games is horrible for sports as a whole. Now, last night, even Raynell debated with me in the kitchen. She rarely will go back and forth with me. My fiance has sat and watched many games with me, many of events with me. We don't debate as much as we used to because we live together and we normally are on the same side sometimes about a lot of different things. But last night, I could tell she was a little miffed that I said that. Well, I mean, is it the point to dominate? Is it the point to win? Is it the point? Yes, that is the point. But 100 straight wins shows that the sport is down. It's bad. It feels like a monopoly. And domination, guys, remember, domination doesn't work when you talk about dictatorship. Doesn't work when you talk about government. So it's not going to be good for anything else. Adele winning those awards, I thought it was really good for music because all it's going to make Beyonce do is go hit another banging album out. And then it's going to push other people to maybe come after her. Maybe it brings up more music. That's what Adele said. Adele said her Lemonade album was everything for her. She'd been following her since she was 15. Beyonce was everything to her from a 15-year-old. But she didn't win everything every year all the time. She won a lot. The Lakers won a lot. The Celtics won a lot. The Lakers again won a lot. The Spurs have won a lot. The Patriots have won a lot. But there's still the competitive balance there. They're still a competitive fire. The Broncos will sign a quarterback this offseason, and they're not afraid of the Patriots. They're going to go after them next year. They have the defense to win the Super Bowl. They've proven that. They have to go find a quarterback this offseason. Simple as that. It's not a wrap for the Patriots next year. They've only gone back-to-back once, guys. And they've gone and lost 2 Super Bowls. And in those years, they've lost championship games when they've had to go on the road and play the AFC championship games. There's years they've lost those games. They've lost at Pittsburgh. They lost at Denver. They lost at Indianapolis. Marlon Jackson on the Tom Brady interception. They're not flawless in the postseason, but they win a lot. But 100 straight wins and this type of domination, it's bad for sports. It's definitely bad for women's college basketball. And just to show you guys the importance, and last night I may have outspoke my words a little bit when I said nobody cares. No. I know there's WNBA fans, very few, all 37 of you. I know there's women's college fans, all 75 of you. I get that. Most of those fans are either go to the school or they have a kid that plays there. You will rarely find somebody that has zero connection to women's college basketball that will tell you, I love women's college basketball. Instead of showing such a monumental game last night, you know what ESPN ran? They ran Kansas and West Virginia, which I watched and covered last night. Great game. Kansas was dead in the water. West Virginia couldn't get the ball across half court. And then Kansas decided to hit 4 threes in like 35 seconds. About a minute and 35 seconds. Not 35 seconds. About a minute and 35 seconds. They decided to hit 3 or 4 3-pointers. The network that was the god of sports networks, they didn't even think it was important enough to put it on their regular network. It wasn't even on ESPN2. It was on ESPNU. That doesn't even come with the basic ESPN package. You gotta bump a package up with the sports package to get you NBA TV, NFL Network. You gotta bump it up to even get those channels. The network of God's network that the game was on, they didn't even think it was important to even cut in to the West Virginia Kansas game. They ran a breaking news in red across the bottom. That's how big this thing was, guys. And it's bad for sports. It's bad for sport. You completely shut down any real interest in women's basketball, at least for the next 2 to 3 years. And worse than it already is right now. You watch women's college basketball for what? UConn always wins. Why would you keep watching? The only thing I watch and repeat are episodes of Martin, Fresh Prince, Family Guy, Bob's Burger, and movies that I love. I rewatch games to analyze and break games down. But I don't go back and watch the Dolphins-Jets game from 2 years ago over and over again. I don't go back and watch Kobe's top 10 shots, top 10 moments over and over again. Who the hell is going to go back and watch 100 basketball? Oh, I want to go watch their streak and live in the moment with them. I want to go watch their streak. How? Why? And people know me I love the ladies, man. I love women in sports. I love Serena, Venus, Danica. I was a big Shamika Holdsclaw fan. I loved Maya Moore. There's a lot of things about women in sports I love. College women's basketball, this is not it. And whether people want to admit it or not, this is bad for sports. And I'm starting to look at Gino like, could you really go coach somewhere else? It just seems really comfortable. We all have that friend. I'll give you guys this analogy right here. We all have that friend who's got a good thing going in life. And they have an opportunity to actually go really prove themselves, because the good thing they have going is really just a comfort zone. It's a comfort zone. And they really have other opportunities to go really prove themselves, not only to the masses, society, but to themselves. There's no part of Gino that just says, okay, this is enough, and I'm gonna see if I can go coach men's. or men's college basketball or the NBA. Let me see if I can go get an NBA job. Some GM, some dumbass GM will hire him because GMs don't know what they're doing. You sign Serge Ibaka to an off-season major contract. You make a move for Ibaka, but then you turn around. You make a trade, you make a move for Ibaka, and then you turn around and you trade him to Toronto. GMs don't know what they do. Somebody will give Gino a job. I guarantee it 100% Gino could get a job in the NBA. But why won't he go challenge himself and do that? There's no list of top 10 coaches of all time that I would ever put Gino on. Ever. You're never going to get me to say, oh, Gino, come on, man. No, I don't care. You're coaching college girls in an era where there was really only like one or two teams every year, your entire career, that could even compete with the talent that you have. You get the best of the best. Everybody knows that. Trust me, when Pat Summitt died, she took a little bit of college basketball, women's college basketball with her. She took a little bit of women's college basketball with her when she passed away. I think most of you would agree with me on that. I don't think that there is even a close to a level playing field. And last night, I didn't see the game. I didn't really watch any highlights. I saw the score was 66-55. South Carolina had played them tough earlier this year. And people say even the Maryland game, they had played them tough. And people said, well, it's because, Maryland played them tough, so somebody could beat them. But then you go back and you look at some of the numbers, which I did. And it's like, okay, one of their highest turnover games of the year. Their pace didn't seem the same. And people said they made a lot of mistakes that game. And it still kind of won going away. 100 straight wins, who's going to beat them? They're probably going to finish the year undefeated. I don't see anybody, but they would have to lose a major player or like two players to injury or just have a night where they shoot like 20% and have 25 turnovers. That's just not happening because there's not opposition out there that's good enough to make them have those kind of nights. You can have a 21% shooting night because you just can't hit shots, but there's a team that's got to make you have 25 turnovers. You didn't just have a bad turnover game. The defense was ramped up. There's maybe some loose balls, lazy passes that the other team fights for better than your guy does. That's them making plays also, too. Score update, man, in the round of 16 first leg. What the hell is going on? PSG is up 4-0 on Barcelona. It's almost embarrassing. They're showing replays of Neymar, Suarez, Messi. They're just all looking around at each other, shaking their heads. They cannot believe what's going on. This doesn't eliminate them. They're going to lose this game. It's at the 85.5-minute mark. So they're going to lose this match. And I don't think this game eliminates them because this is just the first leg. But wow, 4-0. I never saw that coming today. And I pay attention to this stuff. I follow soccer. I think it's great. I really do. 141st Westminster Kennel Dog Show is on tonight too. I'm a dog lover. I have a pit bull. He's over here snoring on the love seat in my studio right now. That's why nobody will sit there anymore because your hair is all over it. And then he just looks at me. 1988 dunk contest is just ending up on NBA TV right now. Back in 88, Jordan's backing up to take off from the free throw line. Dunk contest coming up. They revived it last year. I hope it does better this year. Hope it does even better. I'm kind of mad at my man Levine. Levine kind of being a little diva, man. I don't want to do it. Man, get out there. You play for the Timberwolves. Don't nobody know what you're doing right now anyway. Go shut up and go dunk. Jordan from the free throw line, even though it wasn't the free throw line. He was a foot inside. No one ever wants to admit that. I get called a hater for it. And they won it because he was in Chicago. They knew it. Dominique Wilkins out-dunked him. Look at that lineup out there. You got Spud. You got Drexler. Yeah, Jordan in this competition. Dominique. Who's that from the Spurs? Was a guy in this dunk contest from the Spurs. Don't remember that face right there, though. And they're showing the replay right here, man. This was not free throw line. He's a whole foot. His heel is on the free throw line. It was never a free throw line dunk, and that's not Jordan hating, but let's stop giving fake credit to people. Just like Iris's crossover and Jordan. Oh, what, you mean that double carry? It's a carry, man. It wasn't close to a clean crossover at all. It wasn't close to a clean crossover at all. I got a call coming in right now from the 860. I have no idea who this is. You're live right now, VJs on Sportsmanlike Conduct. You're on the mic. What's your beef?
What's up, Big Vanilla? You know who I be. You know who I be. Come on now. Don't play me out. You know who I be.
My man K Dub from ESPN, man, calling from Bristol, Connecticut. I appreciate it. Go ahead. Yeah, listen. Go ahead. Say, I know why you called in, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor. I already said what I needed to say. I'm going to give you the floor.
That Spurs slam dunk contest, that wouldn't be Alvin Robertson, would it?
Say that again?
What jersey number you got on that Spur in the 88 slam dunk contest?
It went off. They're actually replaying the Golden State lost to Denver.
I think it's Alvin Robertson.
No, I know what Alvin Robinson looks like. It wasn't Alvin.
Okay, it wasn't him. All right. But no, he's one of my favorite players, and you know he can get up on some people. He can get up on some people, and wouldn't count Barcelona out just yet. But they need 5 goals the next game if that score holds up.
Oh, okay. So they need 5 goals. Exactly. Yeah, they're not eliminated. You're right. They're not eliminated. It's a goal count in the first leg.
They got to whoop PSG's butt the next game to have a shot at it.
I'm just blown away, dude. I cannot believe that they're getting their asses kicked like this today.
Yeah, I DVR'd that match, so I got to check out and see what happened, because, man, that I didn't see coming.
No, not 4-0. So what you got on this? What you got on my UConn take, man? Because I know that's why you called in, and you follow this stuff. You're an avid women's college basketball fan and women's basketball fan. Period. Most Americans are. So you already know how I feel. I said what I had to say, man. I'm not changing it, but you got the floor.
I know how you feel, but here's my question: why does it have to? First off, about Gino Auriemma having to prove himself. He's got nothing to prove. The man has done his thing in his field. Why is there a field to need to prove something? Did anybody say why did John Wooden go to the NBA? No one has ever said that. No one has ever said that. Is anyone saying, hey, Nick Saban, why don't you go back to the NFL and why don't you prove something? No one's saying that.
I am. I do. Hold on, Carl. And I do hear people say that. No, I definitely am, because you made a mess of your NFL career. At some point, in my opinion, he does need to go fix that. Sorry to interrupt. Continue.
To me, no problem to me. To me, Nick Saban got nothing to prove. He's done his thing in his sphere, and that's fine. But back to Geno. Back first off, to me, I'm celebrating what this UConn team has done, because it's unbelievable what they've done, and especially what they've done this year, in a year where they've had to rebuild, where they've had to retool, where they've had to put a lot of new cogs in the machine, and they're playing as well as they're playing. And I saw the game last night, and they had a rough game. And South Carolina had a little bit to do with that, but the difference is between UConn and everyone else is the matter of this UConn team this year. There's something about them that they've really squatted up together, and that's one thing about UConn these last 4 or 5 years. Those teams, even with a lot of new pieces, those kids squat cohesive, and they learn how to play in Geno's system, and they pick it up. And that's the one thing as a coach throughout his history that you got to say about UConn teams. The biggest myth about UConn women's basketball is that they get the best players every year. That's a myth. Look at the recruiting ratings year after year. UConn is rarely number one. In these last 16 years, they've only been number one maybe twice. Maybe. And you look at their recruiting classes the last couple of years, they get a lot of high-rate kids, but they get a lot of high-rated kids who are between like 30 and 75. They don't get too many of the ones between 1 and 10. They don't. But what Geno does do, he gets the right ones. He gets the ones who can play in his system. He gets the ones who realize it's not I, it's we. He gets the ones that when they walk in Gamble Pavilion first day freshman year, they look at all those banners and they realize this isn't about entitlement, this is about we. You have a duty to have more banners. how do you want to be remembered? And they play accordingly. So I say, rather than trying to poo-poo the greatness, celebrate the greatness. Celebrate it. We're seeing the UCLA of our time in our midst. Let's enjoy this, because we don't get it very often in sports. I mean, come on. Is Tom Brady bad for sports? No, he's not. Is seven Super Bowls in a career bad for sports? Heck no.
No, not seven over 16 years, but 100 straight wins. You'll never see it in the NBA. You'll never see it in the NFL. You'll never see it in the majors. You'll never see it in the NHL. You'll never see it on the tennis tour, the golf tour, NASCAR circuit. You will never see 100 wins. 100 wins tells me that sport has absolutely, and you're talking about this season. This season, how many games did they play? 23, 24 so far? Maybe 21, 22?
Yeah.
But that means there were 80-something games before that. So your argument of their retooling this year, retooling the last 20 games, they're not retooling all 13 players, though, Carl. They got people, they got girls there from last year.
Yeah, they got kids that can play. But every year is different. One thing I've learned in women's basketball, in any college sport, every year is different and every team is different. Even if you've got players returning, every year is different. Every team is different. And UConn just seems to weather the differences and the changes better than everybody else. But that doesn't mean that the rest of women's basketball is bad. In fact, women's college basketball has gotten better year after year after year for the past 20 years. Look at the amount of talent that's been created. You've got more kids getting more high-level instruction right now than at any time, mainly because truly this is among the first generations of young girls who have not only been encouraged to play, they've been expected to play.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Grown players across the country. I look especially these last 15, 16 years, the number of programs that were crap who've gone to great, a number of programs that were lousy, and I can give you a number of those examples of programs that were last place. Then a new coach, new regime, comes in, new ideas come in, and they end up being world beaters. It's happened time and time again, especially in these last 15 seasons. It's not that the rest of women's basketball is not so bad. Women's basketball is awesome. Look at how the college game has grown up. Hell, look at how the pro game has grown up. Look at how the international game has grown. The game, I'm bullish on the game. It's just that UConn's they've just put together something special.
I don't know if it's special, Carl. I don't know if it's special if the rest of the competition is just not even close. And I'm not even going to pull, because some people in the chat room are pulling the ref card or cheating card or this. I'm not going to pull that. Because I just look at it. It's not even that deep to me. I just look at it and just go, dude, this is not fun to watch. Why do you think the NBA love is down this season? When I was saying it a year ago and what was going to happen 5 and 6 years ago after the decision, when I was on, and you and I, we've known each other for years. We've known each other for almost 10 years since Raynell's been at ESPN. You and I have talked sports for almost a damn near decade now. That's how long we've known each other. I've been in the same circles, chatting it up over people's houses, parties back in Connecticut, cookouts, what have you. I've been talking about the NBA for a good 6-7 years now and what it looks like and what it's going to look like. And even though you have LeBron man crushers who are just going to watch because they want to see LeBron win, and you're going to have the Durant and Warrior haters that are really just going to watch to see when they lose. But that's not an interest in real basketball. You just have an interest in two teams, the Cavs and the Warriors. That's really it. We may flash and talk about other teams, but when we talk about the Knicks, what do we talk about? We don't talk about the game. We talk about Melo being traded, Phil Jackson, Dolan, Charles Oakley. Now it's brought into Sprewell, Larry Johnson. Oh, by the way, if anybody hasn't heard, breaking news, Adam Silver and Michael Jordan day before yesterday, late in the night, reached out to both Oakley and Dolan to try to get them to settle this thing and console their differences. That's the storyline. The storyline in women's college basketball, to be honest with you, they don't even have one. There's no real sideshow, and when it was a coach sleeping with his players, or should Gino go try to really challenge himself? 100 wins, it just really shows me, dog, there's no competition. And I want to touch on your point about the 20 years. UConn for the last 20 years, fine. I'm just talking the last 5 to 10. When Maya Moore was the best player in college basketball, who she play for? UConn. Who was winning championships? UConn. When Diana Taurasi was the best player, I don't want to hear about a recruiting class. It's women's college basketball. So the playing field is really, really even. Not many can dunk. Most of them are about the same speed. Most of them have most guards, and you watch this stuff, you know I'm telling the truth. Most of the guards, they have about the same skill set as far as their handle and their dribble and their shot-making ability. There's no 6'9" LeBron woman. There's no one dunking over anybody. Brittany Griner dunked on fast breaks. Candace Parker dunked on the fast, but there's no baseline spin move, reverse dunk. It's a different type of athleticism that we're watching. So you don't have to have a top recruiting class. All you got to do is get Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, Rebecca Lobo, just like Tennessee. All you got to do is get Shamika Holsclaw. You got to convince Candace Parker to commit to you. It was those two. Whoever had the best player was winning the championships. And now that she's gone, they're always going to get the best player. Who's going to beat them, Carl? That's not an interest to me. And when I posted last night that nobody cares, I didn't mean nobody literally. But 95% of the sport fan in America, they do not give a damn about them winning 100 games because it's no fun to watch if one team always is going to win. Would you watch the Super Bowl every year if you already knew who was going to win? No. Most people wouldn't. That's why they don't watch women's college basketball. We already know who's going to win. You there, see? I got you. Yeah. No, I want you to. I want you to respond to that.
And my answer to that is 2004 to 2009. That's my first answer to that. 2004 to 2009. Number of championships won by Connecticut, 0. But when I think of women's basketball, by the way, all the storylines, that's the lazy media that doesn't cover the game. Let's just be real. The media goes for the quick, easy story, which is fine. That's what they do. But when I think of women's college basketball, I also think about since 2000. Since we want to look at this limited number of times, let's take a look at since UConn has really been dominant. In these last 16 years, they've been rather dominant. Let's also look at for starters, 2002. They played Oklahoma in the national championship and beat them. Oklahoma 4 years before that game was dead last in the Big 12. Dead last. Let's talk about 2005 when their championship final was Baylor against Michigan State. In 2000, both of those teams were dead last in their respective conferences. 2006, Maryland, first championship. 2009, Louisville makes the championship game. First time they've ever been to the championship game. In 2012, greatest single season in terms of wins by a women's college team. Guess what? Wasn't UConn. It was Baylor, 40-0. 2013.
Who won the championship in 2012? Who won the championship in 2012?
Baylor, 40-0. They didn't lose anybody.
That's right, Brittany Griner. You're right. Okay.
It was their second championship. They also won it in 2005. Again, 5 years after coming in dead last in the Big 12.
No, Brittany Griner changed it. Brittany Griner single-handedly changed that. We know that.
Brittany Griner was a junior high school kid in 2005, BJ.
Not 2005. 2012.
But the point is, in 2005, you had two teams that were dead last in their conferences just 5 years before playing for a national title during a time when UConn couldn't sniff the national championship game. The parity's there. The parity's always been there. It's just that, dude,
so what am I missing there? Okay, so you give some good numbers. You give some good numbers and some good points. I'll give you that. So help me. What are we missing then?
The biggest thing that we're missing is that UConn's just that good. Just give them their credit. When Maya Moore and company were winning 90 straight games, they were just that good. But remember, Maya Moore didn't win a championship every year. Diana Taurasi didn't win a championship every year. Rebecca Lobo won one championship in a year. Won one championship in her career. One. But it was one that got the party started. The whole point I'm trying to make is women's basketball has got a lot of talent across the spectrum. Oh, there's one other thing. Since you mentioned my home state of Nebraska, the story you talked about actually happened. And in fact, it happened twice. It happened twice. Our all-time leading scorer was a kid that Gino wanted, did not get, stayed home. Got 3 NCAA tournament bids. In 2010, a program which had never won before. And I remember that season because I flew home for a lot of games. I followed them all the way to the regionals in Kansas City and that heartbreaking loss to Kentucky. Nebraska going 30-0, winning, upsetting everybody to win the Big 12 regular season title over the Paris Twins and Oklahoma. The parity's there, man. The parity's been there. It's just they give UConn their credit. They just put together a great run right now. And it's an epic run. And it's a majestic run. And it's historic. And I say celebrate it. Don't denigrate it. And a lot of that denigration, DJ, and I'm gonna preface this by saying it's not you. Because, hey, I respect your sports now. Even if I don't agree with you, you're not brewing the weak coffee that a lot of people in the media are brewing, and I respect that.
Appreciate it.
But a lot of this comes from, let's be real, a lot of this is a lot of male chauvinist pigs out there. Let's just get real. And me, I like some bacon. So I'll call this out when I hear it. I'll call it out. Because a lot of people that are banging on UConn for not being competitive and this and that are people, first off, when they think of women's college basketball, they only think of one team anyway. And when they do think about it, they don't have anything nice to say. They don't cover these games. To me, if people really want to know the waterfront, don't try and get Mike Francesa's take on it. He's going to bang on it. Talk to a Mel Greenberg or a Michelle Beeple. Talk to a Marianne Cornelius at the Knoxville Sentinel-Journal. People who cover this game day in, day out, game in, game out, year in, year out. And they'll all tell you the same thing. This isn't bad for sports. This is excellence at its finest, and we need to celebrate it.
All right, homie. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. You soften my stance a little, but I just don't see it. All I can see when I watch them is when I watch women's college basketball, I just see a team, especially in recent years. There's no point in watching any of these games. I know when it gets to the Final Four, if UConn's there, they're the team that's probably going to win it. Let me throw another question off sport at you. I've always thought that...
A quick thing on this, and then we'll go on to the next topic. But a quick thing. Last year, what was the Final Four? What was the women's Final Four last season? What was the last women's Final Four?
You got me on that, player.
Yeah, Connecticut, they won it. It was Connecticut, Washington, Oregon State, and Syracuse. What do Washington, Oregon State, and Syracuse all have in common? They have two things in common. Thing number one is for each of them, they were a Final Four debutante. It was their first Final Four. And the second thing is, anywhere from 4 to 6 years ago, each were the worst team in their respective conferences. Talent's filtering in. It's trickling down. If you don't believe me, the kids that could beat a UConn, they're playing 7th grade ball in your Y, your CYO, or your junior high school right now. They're in your local high school right now. UConn can't get all the best kids, and more top kids are being created. More top kids are being created. Just like in tennis, more Serena Williamses are being created. Because the same things they say about UConn, they've been saying about her for years. Oh, it's boring. She is dominant. Yada, yada, yada. It's not good for the game. Excellence is never bad for the game. Excellence spurs excellence. What do you say, BJ? Iron sharpens iron.
All right, you got me there because you're using my own quote against me, and I can never go against my own quote.
My answer is, instead of whining about UConn's iron, every team in America needs to keep sharpening their own iron. because somebody will beat them.
This year?
If South Carolina, I think somebody could, but the thing you got to do to beat UConn is you got to realize you can't do what South Carolina did last night, which is when you have the advantage, you can't shoot yourself in the foot. South Carolina had all the advantages to beat UConn last night. UConn wasn't shooting well. UConn didn't have their bigs were hurt or in foul trouble. You've got Aja Wilson, who I think, in my opinion, is the best player in the country right now. When she wants to be the best player in the country. When she wants to, she can dominate, but she's got to want to every game. There's so much Lisa Leslie in her. Really, she was lazy. That's why she should have been dominant. It wasn't so she got a 96 Olympic team when Tara Vanderveer looked her in the eye and said, "You'd be the greatest player ever if you put your back into it and actually do some work." And that's what lit a fire under Lisa's butt to realize you have too much talent to be dogging it, to be goal breaking the way you did USC. Tara Vanderveer told us straight up, I should never have lost to you in 4 years at USC. Should have never lost to you, but I lost you because you're coasting. I beat you because you're coasting. You have too much talent to coast. But anyway, you want to
Yeah, actually, your phone is. I'm not sure if you're driving. I know the reception is horrible in Connecticut sometimes. But I'm just going to throw a question at you about Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, because I said that I knew it would happen whenever Floyd Mayweather was ready to just say, okay, let's just do it. The word is on him. I think Floyd Mayweather personally is bad for sports, but this fight, I think, is going to garner a lot of attention. And with the country being as divided as it is, could you see some type of race underlining? Once this thing is made official and they both sign on the dotted line and hold the press conference that they're going to have this fight, could you see some type of race underline playing into this with the way our nation is right now and the way, in all honesty, white America loves USC, black America is more into boxing, and we definitely support Mayweather a lot more than white America does. So I'm seeing all types of Twitter rants that I can foresee going on in the future. I can see friends and fights probably breaking out at these fight parties and sports bars all over the place. That's going to be showing this thing. Could you see some type of racial divide with this Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight?
Well, I think there could be. I think there most likely will be. But my whole thing, personally, I think that fight is a sign of desperation to me.
For
it's
who?
A sign of desperation.
For who? Which one?
For everybody. For boxing, for UFC, for everybody.
Wow.
This fight is a sign of desperation. Because let's be real about where boxing is right now. Boxing is not in a great state right now, and it hasn't been for some time. And also, let's be real about Floyd Mayweather. Hey, Money Mayweather is a good boxer. But when we think of the idea of the champion prize fighter, he ain't it. I mean, if you're going to be technical, you have to be likable. Like Sugar Ray Leonard was technical but likable. Floyd Mayweather, not so much. He's technical, but he ain't likable. And UFC, I'll be the first to tell you, not a UFC fan. I respect the people who watch it. I respect the people who like it. But to me, we've seen this before. Norman Jewison made a film about this. It was called Rollerball. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the whole blood sport thing. I'm not a big fan of the Fight Club thing. You know what? UFC.
Do we lose him?
But also, it's desperation because UFC is looking for a mass media star. And they don't have, and even though a lot of people like UFC is like that dude who's got a lot of money, but he doesn't have a lot of class. That's what UFC strikes me as. It strikes me as the dude that owns the Ferrari, owns the Lamborghini, he has a ton of money, but he's never getting into the private club. Because because money can't buy class. And that's what I think of when I think of UFC. UFC is trying to find a bankable superstar. They thought they had one with Ronda Rousey, and they found out, no, you don't. And this McGregor guy, come on. Could you see him hosting Saturday Night Live? No.
Well, no, he's already shot himself in the foot. For any type of American style appearance and endorsement, he shot himself in the foot with his pre-fight antics. And I was saying earlier in the show, Dana White, in my opinion, all Dana White is today's version of Don King. He doesn't pay these guys top dollar like he should be doing. And these guys are like beating their brains in, just like with Don King, but because he's white, it's okay. Nobody's calling him out. We're all calling him a genius.
Actually, just the opposite. Putting Dana White putting White in the same position as Don King insults Don King. Because one thing I will say for Don King may have been corrupt with that messed up hair, but Don King got in the club. Don King got in the club. Don King could walk in to a major television network, put up a fight deal, and be respected in that room.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I like that angle.
Money.
Okay, I like that angle.
Hey, I give the man from Cleveland some credit. He got in the room. Dana White's not getting in the room. He's not getting in the room. I mean, he's sort of getting in the room, but UFC will never. I mean, Don King can put people on anybody's telethon, on anybody's TV show. Dana White does not have that same kind of pull. He doesn't. And UFC, really, their superstars, they don't have that kind of pull. They were banking on Ronda to give them that kind of pull. She was their Jeff Gordon, and she hit the wall hard. McGregor doesn't even get endorsement deals in Ireland. He didn't get stuff in Europe. I mean, he shot
himself because he shot himself in the foot with his mouth. That's why. Simple as that.
Oh yeah, but even if he hadn't, I don't see him having that type of appeal. I just don't. I don't see him having that type of appeal. And really, think of all the great stars of UFC, especially the great male stars of UFC. How many of them, they don't even, come on, do you see Anderson Silva on television commercials in Brazil? No, you don't. You don't.
He shouldn't. Silva shouldn't even have to still fight. Silva shouldn't even have to still fight. Silva should be retired, right? He should be rich enough to be retired right now.
The whole thing is, though, even when he was at his peak of his powers, he wasn't getting that type of pull. Ayrton Senna was getting more commercials in Brazil than Anderson Silva, and he's been dead for 20 years.
Damn.
I mean, I'm serious. When you think of sporting heroes, you're not thinking UFC. You're just not. And that's why UFC needs this fight as much as boxing needs this fight.
I like that angle, man. That's pretty good. I didn't think about it that way. I like that angle, bro. You brought some hardcore to the show today, man. You're right. This is a fight of desperation. I didn't even think about it that way. This is a fight of desperation. That's how bad boxing and the UFC is. They need their mouthy, rude, unprofessional, unlikable superstar to fight our defensive, checkered past, but now really just about getting the money boxing superstar to even make anything interesting.
Because for both of them, it's the biggest name out there. It's the only name that's going to draw some buzz. At least as far as UFC goes, it's the only name that's going to draw some buzz. On the other side, there's a lot of guys in boxing right now who have the charisma, have the skills, have the things the fans want. I can name one right now, and I'll admit I'm biased because he's from my hometown, Bud Crawford.
No, Crawford but not just Crawford. I'll give you Thurman. Thurman's another young good boxer. Garcia. They're boxing. Let me ask you this. Hold on. Let me ask you this, Carl, because this will allow you to reign on boxing for a quick second here. Just a very simple question. I agree with you on boxing, but the question is, what happened to boxing? Where did it go wrong? What happened? We just had the middleweight and welterweight class like 10 to 12, 15 years ago. That was outstanding. What happened to boxing in your opinion?
What happened is a combination of things. The first thing is, in some ways, boxing got greedy. because they thought the pay-per-view gravy train was going to go forever. It's the same thing that happened to the WWE in a lot of ways. You thought that gravy train was going to go forever. And people after a while are tired of getting burned by bad fights. They ain't going to pay $50 for that bad fight. Especially when they remember we could see some great championship fights for free. Because you put them on TV and you bought ads for them. That's one thing. Boxing and mainly got too greedy. Second thing, boxing got too fragmented. Because think about when boxing was golden. 40s, 50s, 60s. You didn't have this championship and that championship. You had the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. That's one of the greatest titles in sports, VJ. The undisputed champion of the world is one of the greatest things to have in sports. People want that. And when people were deprived of that, proof that people wanted that, how do you think Rocky became a Best Picture nominee? Why do you think people still will watch Rocky movies? Because when it came down to it, it was for one belt. Would people give a damn about Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa if they were fighting for the WBA and WBC titles? No. It was the undisputed championship of the world. Boxing needs to get back to that. One champion. It's too fragmented. You got 5 different guys holding belts. Who's the champ? And because you're going to play politics with them, none of those will ever get reunified. What boxing needs to do, first off, boxing needs one commission, one set of rules. I remember I was talking to a friend of mine a few years ago. If I were king of sports, the one thing I'd do is I'd start a thing called the World Boxing League. I'd put Oscar De La Hoya as the CEO to run the business side. I'd make Sugar Ray Leonard the commissioner of it and say, okay, one set of rules, one champ, unify everybody, one champion. One champion. And every so often, I tell the TV networks, we're going to put a big championship fight. We want to put it on your network. Buy some ads, we want to put it on your network. Let's get people turned on to boxing again. Let's make it accessible again. And also, as part of this World Boxing League, let's re-energize this sport among young people. Shit, I learned how to box when I was a kid. One of the best things you could do for a skinny, sissy kid who got picked on to learn how to box and then whoop people's butt. Let's make Golden Gloves a priority again. When's the last time you've heard about Golden Gloves champions in this country? Golden Gloves used to be mandatory if you wanted a pro career or an Olympic career. Let's make amateur boxing really matter again. And the way to do that is by having a professional boxing circuit with standardized rules, single champions, a clear ladder for development, and let's make boxing matter again. That's how you'll get people into it. That's how you get people in. It got too fragmented, it got too greedy, and people just lost interest because it was just too much. It was too much to keep up with, and not enough talent to justify all that fragmentation. So if you want to know what's up with boxing, how we can bring, because I love boxing.
So do I.
I love boxing. To me, boxing is a great sport. To me, if I had a son, one thing I would get him into is boxing. Shoot, I was in a boxing league a few years ago, and I loved it. I love boxing. I love the sport. I love participating in it. I love watching it. Because boxing, and contrary to popular belief, boxing is not a blood sport. It's an athletic contest. Yeah, people get hit. People get hurt. But it isn't about just trying to maim somebody. At its purpose, it's to show that I can fight, that I can defend, box, parry, and fight, and when I need to, knock you out better than the other guy. It's a sport. It ain't just wanton violence. It's a sport with a definite goal. And that's what I love. I love good boxing. Shoot, the best fight I ever saw lasted 3 rounds. Remember the first Hearns Hagler fight?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a hell? That's what, to me, what boxing was about. It was about, when it comes down to it, we're going to use every trick in the book, but ultimately it's about, we're going to use every trick in the book to get to your chin, but I'm going to get to your chin. Can you hang on? But that's what boxing needs. Boxing just needs business practices to be transparent. It needs rules to be transparent. It needs safety and health of fighters to be transparent, and it needs to be something that the fans can glom on to. And the fans can't glom on to 5 champions in one weight class. It needs the undisputed champion of the world. That's what gets people to watch.
No,
Again,
I agree with you. I hate the division. I hate all the different belts. And I'll give you a few more fights. You mentioned Hagler Hearns. I love Hagler Leonard. I love De La Hoya and Sweet Pea. I love Julio Cesar Chavez and Sweet Pea. That was a great fight. You can go to the Manuel Marquez. Yeah. That.
Oh, the Marquez Herrera. Oh my God.
Yeah. Marquez and Barrera. I could give you Trinidad. I can give you Trinidad and Vargas. I can give you Trinidad and Bernard Hopkins. We've lost that age. And when you think about it, it just wasn't until about 8-10 years ago, bro. 8-10 years ago, Roy Jones had people watching boxing. And I think another thing they do today too many of these young kids, they try to look at a Floyd or maybe a Sugar Ray Leonard, or maybe like a Prince Nassim. Guys who talk, not Leonard, because Leonard wasn't a talker, so I'll take Leonard out, but Prince Nassim, the whole Mike Tyson era of nobody can beat me, I'm the best in the world. Floyd came around, and then you got guys, out here brushing their hair, talking about taking the opponents out to dinner, taking their girl to it. It's like they try to manufacture superstars and instead of letting superstars happen. And that's why I always tell people, I'll always pick the NFL over the NBA, because the NBA tries to manufacture superstars, and the NFL, no one can know about you this week, and next week you could be a young budding star because of what you did on the field, not because of the sneaker endorsement or endorsement you signed in the circuit that you played on in high school. It doesn't work that way in the NFL. Boxing used to be that way. You used to have to work your way up and make yourself a star. I think nowadays one thing that they do is they try to create and they try to manufacture stars. And then once those guys get beat, you have nowhere to go with them. And then you just end up really look at Broner. Look at Adrian Broner. Same thing when they tried to make him out of Cincinnati from the hood. Good boxer. Great boxer. But they tried to manufacture him to be the next Floyd. Floyd was his mentor. And then when he got beat, it's like, okay, well, you're definitely not Floyd, because Floyd's 49-0. So you're definitely not him. And you look too sloppy in these matches. When Floyd was young, when Mike was young, when Sugar was young, when De La Hoya was young, when Trinidad was young, when Bernard was young, when Roy was young, you didn't see them have sloppy fights. For their first 25 to 30 fights, they were pristine, high octane, high skilled, high caliber, high technical fights. Those guys didn't have slip ups until fight 31, fight 32. You got Broner losing fight 23. You can't lose fight 23.
Exactly, but that's another reason why you have that, BJ. And a perfect example is, in fact, if you get a chance, there's an article that was in Sports Illustrated years ago about Sugar Ray Leonard's first 30 fights. Sugar Ray Leonard didn't get a title shot until his 31st fight. That's another thing. You got guys now
stat from Carl Webb at ESPN. Nice stat. I did not know that. Ray Leonard did not get his first title fight until his 31st fight.
No. When Angelo Dundee agreed to train him, what he said was, we're going to go through a schedule of fights. We're going to go through a schedule of fights before we even think about a title shot. And each fighter that he put in front of Sugar Ray Leonard, each one dealt with a specific area and a specific weakness. Each one on his road to a title. The biggest difference between the fight game when we were younger and the fight game now is exactly the Adrian Broner example he gave is a great example. Adrian Broner, they tried to manufacture him to be a superstar. Trainers back then said, I'm not manufacturing you to be a superstar. I'm building you to be a champion. And once you become a champion, then the stardom's going to follow. And the first part of being a champion is the amateur ranks. You got to show me It used to be no manager would touch you if you didn't win a Golden Glove or didn't do well in an Olympic trial. No manager would touch you until you did that. That was a prerequisite. How'd you do a Golden Glove? I remember talking to Teddy Atlas about this. He said back then, he said if you didn't at least make a semifinals of a Golden Glove, I wouldn't even talk to you.
Damn.
Because I wouldn't even talk to you because he said you haven't shown me you can win fights yet against the people that most likely you. He said I'm never getting that accent. You got to understand, Carl. You got to understand when you're semifinals to the New York Golden Gloves, 5 years later you might be fighting that guy for a belt or a spot in an Olympic team. You got to show me you can win that fight. If you can't win that fight, what makes you think you're going to win the pros? You'll be a jobber in the pros if you don't show that you can win them fights now. I mean, that's what happened. A lot of guys, man, and oftentimes it's that guy who got to the Golden Glove finals and got beat, but they have that hunger inside them. That's what happened to Mike Tyson. He got ripped off with the Golden Gloves. He beat a guy and they gave him the decision. And they gave the other guys the decision. That happened to Mike Tyson.
It happened to Roy Jones in the Olympics also, and it happened to Floyd Mayweather. It happened to Floyd in the '96 Olympics.
What happened to what happened to Roy Jones Jr.? That was a crime. that was a travesty. What happened to Roy? It happened to Holyfield. It happened to the point was though, back then there was a progression you had to be at before you got a chance to be a professional. And there was another procession you had to be at before you could get a title shot. And some of that had to do with the fact that, for example, imagine being Sugar Ray Leonard in 1978. Do you realize it was in that division? That division, even the guys who were contenders could have been, if you would have had 5 belts in 1978, you would have had a serious list of champions in the welterweight and middleweight division. You would have had a serious list of champions in any division if boxing was as fragmented then as it is now. Now, honestly, you've got some guys with so much glass in their jaw, they ought to be a chandelier who have belts. With the notable exceptions being that welterweight division, that middleweight division. Because imagine if you had a unification tournament among those two divisions right now.
Just right now.
You'd have boxing. You'd have boxing that would fill NFL stadiums now. That's the type of good fight you have. But again, it goes back to you got to get rid of the fragmentation. You've got to have people who clearly understand business. And not just the undertable of business. They understand the whole of the business. They understand what day parts are in terms of TV ratings. They understand what target demographics are. They understand who will go to fights. And believe me, people will go to good boxing. They'll go to fights. You give people a good fight, they'll go to it. You have some stars that you don't need to manufacture. They're stars. They'll, like you said, in the NFL, the game builds the stars. What you do in the field builds your fame. Boxing needs people who understand that running it. And unfortunately, a lot of these promoters, they don't get that. There's one who gets it, but he's too busy trying to get this one last payday. He's too busy trying to do Rocky Balboa against Thunder Lips. Come on, let's be real. BJ, let's be real. That's what the fight is. Mayweather against Ian McGregor? Come on, man.
Yeah, I get that.
You really gonna sell me that fight?
Yeah, well, they're going to. Well, no, they're going to, definitely. They're going to. Listen, real quick before I let you roll, because I like what you said about boxing. You had to build. You had to actually build a career. You had to win some fights and go through the chain. Basically, I get the proverbial chain of command. I want to flip that over to the NBA because I think that's why we are in the stage of the NBA we are right now. Players now, you could just be good in AAU and get drafted to a team after a one and done and not ever really took some lumps, took some losses, learn to develop your game, learn to develop your craft and your skill, but you can't guarantee money so you last 7, 8, 9 years. Couldn't you say that's the same problem with the NBA right now that you can say that's with boxing? Maybe not the division division with the super team thing, but just flip it to the NBA for me because I like what you're saying.
Well, to the NBA, you're dealing with a whole different. Number one, if you want to fix the NBA, you got to start with Saturday morning in the youth league. You got to start when these kids are in third, fourth, and fifth grade. You got to start there. You got to start by teaching basic basketball to kids and tell kids, stop watching that and one crap and think it's going to work. Think it's going to work against some kid from Lithuania who understands you got to move your feet on defense. One thing I think that will change basketball in this country: the United States has to lose an Olympic medal. The United States has to send the best of their best and lose, and not just lose, get drilled. We need a year where, say, like Durant, Steph Curry, and them go to the Olympics. They play against Lithuania, and Lithuania beats them like 125 to 101. I mean, drills them with fundamentals, good passing, good cutting, good ball movement, and not all 3-pointers. I mean, backdoor dunks happen. I mean, good plays are put together and they get and ones and they put the bigs in foul trouble. They need a wake-up call as far as getting back to the basics. Now, the Warriors do that. I give Golden State credit. They do a lot of that. Warriors play. I love the way they play ball. I love the way the Spurs play ball. But you've got to start with a different culture of basketball. In fact, you got to go back to the future in a sense. For example, what made the best players at the Rutgers great players? Because don't get the wrong idea. I'm not saying that individuality is the enemy of fundamental basketball. To me, they go hand in hand. It's what my coaches as a little kid told me. If you can't do a chest pass, what makes you think you can be Magic Johnson? I'll never forget my coach, James Freeman, one of my coaches, fourth grade coach back in Omaha, said, he looked at me and said, "Chipper, do you know why Magic Johnson can do what he do?" I said, "No, Coach Freeman, why?" Because he knows how to throw a chest pass and a bounce pass. You know why he can dribble as well as he does, behind his back and do all the crazy crossover stuff he does? Because he knows how to dribble. And you can extrapolate that. How was Michael Jordan able to be the best player who ever laced up a pair of sneaks? How? Because he could do the fundamental things well to start with. You got to have foundation. To do all the crazy stuff that makes the fans go ooh and ah on SportsCenter's Top 10, you got to be able to do the basics. And that's one of the biggest problems I see across the board. You got a lot of guys who can run and jump out of the gym, but they can't do the basics. I look at it in high school and college ball. You got a lot of point guards that can't dribble. How can you be a point guard who can't dribble? Or be a point guard who has one-handed? Yeah, you can be quick and do freaky stuff, but you're one-handed. All I got to do is make you do is use your offhand, and you're done. And that goes into a whole other thing. You got people that don't teach basketball well at your youth level. The AAU, you're not getting good instruction on basketball at the AAU level. All you're getting is how to play games and look good for a college scout. But you're not learning how to play basketball. You're not learning. Hey, VJ, do you ever read Michael Jordan's pictorial book, Rare Air?
I sure have.
Remember how he explained the whole dichotomy of Gene Smith held him to 17 points in the NBA?
Absolutely.
Held him to 17 points in college?
Yeah.
Remember what he said, how Gene Smith taught me when to shoot that shot, when not to, how to move with the ball, how to move without it, how to find the open man, how to become the open man, when to apply my speed and quickness. I'll never forget this quote. Gene Smith held me to 17 points a game when I was at North Carolina, but he gave me the knowledge to score 37 points per game in the NBA. And that's something a lot of people don't understand. A lot of kids aren't getting that knowledge. They're not getting that type of knowledge of basketball. And you see that in the NBA. You see that. Because one thing I will say for the players back, especially one thing about the Boston Celtics and the LA Lakers, a lot of people talk about how it was showtime and it was great to watch. People don't realize there was a lot of gray matter on both those teams. That's why people still watch those games 30 years later, because that wasn't just athletics. That was chess. That was good chess. The basketball IQ there was so high, everybody on that floor needs to sign up for Mensa. That's how smart those teams were. That's why they were that good. Michael Jordan, He wasn't just a phenomenon of dunks and athleticism. Michael Jordan was one of the smartest players to ever play. How do you think he could still tear up half the league at age 40 when you don't have the legs no more? When you don't have the athleticism anymore?
Averaging 20 points and playing 32 minutes a night at 40 years old.
How? Because he was smart. And that's the biggest deficit in the NBA right now. But you got to start that at the beginning. And another thing is, honestly, you got to get rid of what. I understand why people go one and done, but I'm not for it. You got to get rid of one and done. You got to get rid of one and done. They got to get rid of. I tell you the truth. I understand why we have a Spencer Haywood rule. I understand why all those things exist. I get it. I understand the economics behind it, but I don't like it. And to be honest, if a kid doesn't want to go to college, that's fine. Go straight to the NBDL.
And you got to play there for as long as a kid would have to play in college. I agree with that. You got to go to the D League.
Yeah.
And if it's 2 years in college, then you got to play 2 years in the D League.
I agree with that. I don't like the fact that all these kids are going one and done, because that, to me, that's hurting college ball.
Yeah.
And
it's killing it's killed the NBA. Damn hurt college basketball. Yeah. It's killed the NBA.
But also, I look at all these guys right now, but notice, see, what it's going to ultimately take, though, is guys like a Steph Curry or Draymond Green to dominate the league and realize you want to stay in college for a little bit and really learn this craft. Get your finishing. Learn this craft. Learn what it takes to play this game. Because to me, if I had a son right now, and I don't care how good he is, I said, son, I want you to stay in college for 4 years. He's like, well, I'm good enough to play in the NBA now. No, son, you're good enough athletically to play in the NBA now, but your head's not there yet. It's the difference between being able to play. It's the difference being able to play in the NBA for 3 or 4 years and then end up like Othello Harrington, or starting 4 years later but playing in the league 15 years. That's the key. I wouldn't mind sending my kid to say, I'm going to use your team as an example, North Carolina, and learn basketball from Roy Williams for 4 years. You're going to learn what it takes to be a pro and stay in the pros for the next 15 years of your life. Don't you want that?
Or Boeheim, or Tom Izzo, or I won't throw Calipari in there because he's got one and done, but I'll throw Pitino in there. I'll throw Rick Barnes when Rick Barnes was coaching. I'll throw Bobby Huggins. Look what Bobby Huggins. I think people are overlooking. Look what Bobby Huggins has done with West Virginia since he's gotten there.
He's taken it, but you see, he's taken a lot of talent, a lot of second tier talent.
Yep.
But he wins with it. Because he realized I'm stressing team. I'm going to stress strong defense. I'm going to stress team basketball and offense. Everybody's going to touch it. Everybody's got to be smart. You got to know what you're doing out there. You got to know what you're doing. Boeheim's like that. That's why I like him. I mean, look at the number of Syracuse guys in the NBA who may not have the superstar careers, but they have long careers. Because to me, there's one or two. To me, like what you were talking about earlier with the middle class, that's a good point. Because to me, and a lot of that is a function of sports fans. That's why I'm like you in the sense that I'm not a big fan of sports fans, because sports fans have a very jaundiced view of this all. Sports fans believe you're either a superstar or you suck. That's how it is. You're either a superstar or you shouldn't be there. When the fact of the matter is, most of your sports leagues are guys, they're not going to be superstars. They're never going to be superstars. But let me put it this way. If they're not on your team, you know it. If they're not on your team, you're poorer for it. Look how the New England Patriots live on those guys. But they understand the value of those guys. That's why they're on top every year. Because they realize it's not about signing a lot of free agent superstars. It's about putting 22 guys up there who do your job, who do their job.
And want to do their job. They want to do it. They don't mind. They don't mind.
They want to do it.
They don't play hero balls like the Spurs players. They don't play hero ball. If it's not your shot, keep the ball moving. Even if you're wide open, that's not what we're doing right now. But in this era, look at this game Saturday night. Russell Westbrook completely hurt his team because he wanted to go one-on-one with Durant. It was about me, and I like Westbrook, but what I saw Saturday night was a bunch of me. I'm sorry, that's just what I saw. And I like Westbrook, but if I gotta call a spade, Saturday night it just looked like, okay, you want to score 47 and have 12 rebounds and 8 assists, great, but you're gonna lose by 20.
My whole thing is I want to win the game. And that algorithm because I was watching games like, come on, Russell, just use your teammates. Play ball. You're gonna get your triple double, but even if you don't, the point is you want to get this W, and you want to get this W mainly because you got to send a message to your own boys that no, Durant or no Durant, we can take these guys because we'll be seeing them again. We will see these guys again in May, in the NBA, in the conference finals or semifinals. We'll be seeing these guys again. We can beat I want to give them something to think about for 2 months.
No, all they gave him was their third loss. Durant's averaging 38 points a game, and I've been saying this about the NBA. Durant's averaging 38 against the Oklahoma City Thunder, not over the season, but I've been saying this for the last 2 years, and even all the way back to the decision. That I thought the decision was the really first big step of changing the era of basketball we're watching. This is what it's going to turn into. Guys all want to play with each other, and it's going to leave every other team because you're stuck with middle-of-the-road guys and some one-and-dones on your team. It's like, look at Phoenix. I look at Phoenix Suns, and I'm like, you have like 3 college stars on your team. How the hell are you this bad? How the hell are you this bad? Well, that's because the other 2 teams in the West, San Antonio Spurs, Golden State Warriors, and you throw the Clippers in there, they pretty much have the West Coast All-Star team on those 3 teams right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, look around the West. I mean, and in Houston's got Harden, and Harden was with OKC. But if you look at the All-Star team for the West, what is it? Clipper players, Warrior players, Spurs players, Rocket players. Damian Lillard averaging 25 a night for the second year in a row. He doesn't even make the team. They put on Gordon Hayward from Utah, who means absolutely nothing to the NBA right now. No one cares about the Utah Jazz. I'm not even watching the Utah-Cleveland game. I'm not even watching the Utah Spurs game or the Utah Golden State game because of the simple fact that they're playing Utah. Why am I watching Utah? I said this about 3-4 months ago, and a caller had to say, well, VJ, there are some young stars. He mentioned the Greek kid from the Milwaukee Bucks name that I can't pronounce. He mentioned Anthony Davis. And I said,
I'll tell you, I love watching him. I love watching him.
But listen, I get that. I get why people say, I love watching him. But you cannot tell me you're looking at the guide on the screen thinking and hoping and with your fingers crossed that the NBA TV fan night Tuesday night game tonight is the Milwaukee Bucks and such so you can see that one guy. Like right now, I'll go to NFL Network, NBA TV. Tonight, you know what the game is? The Cavs at the Timberwolves. That's the fan night game because LeBron's the star. People want to see LeBron. But it's not going to be Utah and Dallas. It's not going to. Somebody said something about Anthony Davis. What about Anthony Davis? I said, great. Tell me how many Pelican games you watched this year. Did you get the package so that you can watch as many Anthony Davis games as possible? No. So don't sell me on Anthony Davis. And I like him. But once again, we know what the outcome's going to be. So therefore, it's bad for sports. It's hurting sports as a whole. You get people now, honestly, the old NBA guy, he's got a right to bash young guys if he wants to right now. The old NBA guy's got a right to go, man, these kids today, because he's kind of got a point. Look at the league. They don't know how to play basketball. You hear Barkley say, everybody hates Barkley, but I'm going to tell you right now, when he talks just fundamental X's and O's basketball, he knows exactly what the hell he's saying. He knows exactly what. Doesn't mean he doesn't get a prediction wrong or an opinion wrong, but X's and O's basketball, that's why he said, I don't watch these games. Half the game, most of them are unwatchable, and they are unwatchable games.
And you know what? As much as I dislike Charles Barkley, I agree with him. Because a lot of these games Utah's even a little bit. Utah's unwatchable, and they got 34 wins right now. How did that happen?
It's even like Portland. I threw Portland out there. I like McCollum. I like Damian Lillard. I've watched zero Portland Trailblazer games this year. None. And they're both really good players. But why am I watching them go against the Nets? Why would I watch them play Miami? Why would I watch them play the Kings? Who's going to watch? It's unwatchable basketball. And all we do is really know the numbers. We look at the numbers. Houston hasn't been on a bunch of national games this year, but we know Harden is having an out-of-this-world season. But why is it overshadowed? Because we already know what the outcome's going to be, because everybody goes to play with their friend now. And as you said about boxing, kids in basketball don't learn and have to prove themselves all the way up. You see potential and you go grab a guy. Everybody likes Tatum from Duke. Everybody likes Tatum from Duke. And I'm looking at him like, okay, I'm not sure if I like, and I said this yesterday, I'm not sure if I like him. I see the potential that makes everybody rave about him, but haven't we seen this guy before already? Yeah, we have. His name is D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, we have. His name is Bledsoe or Booker. We've seen this type of wing player before. He's nothing exceptional that's going to set the world on fire. We've seen him before. But being that he's going to be one and done at Duke, and Coach K, and I always bang on Coach K for this because I agree with you when you say stay for this many years, learn how to play under Dean Smith, learn how to play under Roy Williams. People are going to say I'm banging because I'm homering because I'm a Tar Heel. But if you look at Roy Williams, how many of these players does he take that they recruit, and you look at it as a freshman, and you go, huh? But by their junior year, that player's got Roy Williams in the Final Four again. He's been to 4 Final Fours since he's been at Carolina. 4 of them. And most of those guys that he's been there with, he's coached those guys up. Now, for most of them, it didn't translate. Sean May, he couldn't keep his weight down. Didn't translate to the NBA. Psycho T didn't. He was undersized in college, but in college, heart, grit, hustle accounts for a lot in the college basketball season. And you're only going to play 30 games anyway, as opposed to 82. But you got guys like Wayne Ellington can shoot the ball. He hangs around on teams. Kendall Marshall's in the D League right now. Harrison Barnes is going to be the future of Dallas right now. Zeller looks like a nice little piece for Boston that Boston puts in and plays some defense. Long, lanky, 7-footer. Ty Lawson. I'm going blank on some names from just recent. And you had Ty Lawson, and then you had Raymond Felton. Raymond Felton can seem to still get a damn job, even at his older age in the league. But those guys actually got coached up in college. So I agree with you on spinning that narrative over to the NBA that we got to get back to coaching kids, man. Listen, I don't want to cut you off. I always enjoy having you, but I got to go and end the show.
I want to say one point about your team, your Tar Heels. That's been North Carolina since Dean Smith. This is one thing about North Carolina, especially in the 90s. Look at the number of guys who people look at and say, huh? They ain't going to make it to the NBA. Then they get in the NBA, and then 10 years, then you look 10 years later, and you still find Jerry Stackhouse on the roster kicking people's butt.
Shit, Vince Carter. Vince Carter's 40.
Yeah, Vince Carter. Shoot, Vince Carter played how long? Is he still playing? Because Vince Carter played all good long. That's one thing about a lot of UNC Tar Heels. You may not think much of them, but wait, 10 years, but 5, 10, even 15 years later, they're still in the NBA. They're still working.
Shit, Antoine Jameson played 16, 17 years in the league.
Yeah, Antoine. That's who I was thinking of too. Antoine Jameson.
Yep.
A lot of people say, "Oh, but fans will say he wasn't a good pro. He sucked." No, he didn't. I got a rule. This is the Carl Webb rule on longevity. If you can make a roster every year for 10 straight years, no one can tell you suck. Period.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. You played in the NBA 10 plus years, and you're always constantly on the roster. You're right. You don't suck.
And not only that, if you're the guy that playoff teams call and say, I need this guy. We need this guy to make a playoff run. We need this guy. You really can't suck if you're. See, that's what people don't realize. They talk about, he's like a Gerald Henderson. He's not that good. Gerald Henderson's got 5 rings. The reason? Because some playoff team says, I need a defensive stopper who can score me some points here and there. Gerald Henderson's my guy, and they pick him up. I need a guy that can hit big shots. Robert Horry.
Yeah.
They don't need to be superstars, but they got the one thing Charles Barkley ain't got. They got the hardware.
Leave my man Charles alone.
No, I don't mean to bang on Charles, but that's the point of sports fans. Sports fans don't quite get that. That no, most of the guys who play pro ball. They're like a dude who I covered in high school. Dude I covered when he played high school ball, and he was a great high school player. He's a great college player. He wasn't a great NFL player, but he had an 11,000-yard career, had a good career, and he was a guy that teams wanted. Remember Amon Green?
Yeah, I remember Amon Green, man. Hell yeah, University of Nebraska ran hard for the Packers all those years in the Seahawks.
Yeah. Yeah, but the point is, people will say he wasn't a good player because he wasn't a superstar, was a Hall of Famer. But the point is, every year there was a training camp, he was getting a contract. Every year. He was signed to a contract. And it's the same. And in the NBA, there's a lot of guys who aren't superstars. But you know what? If you need a guy on your bench that can come off your bench and produce for you, you sign them up. That's your Gerald Henderson. That's like your Gerald Hendersons and the Robert Horry. And people say they can't suck if they're around 14, 15 years and help teams get rings. That's all I'm saying. Don't bang on the middle class dude because teams are made up on them. Again, look at your New England Patriots. They live on the middle class in the NFL. That guy you're willing to part with because you don't have enough room in the cap for him, and you feel he's expendable. That's okay. He can be another Rob Ninkovich. Help me win another 2 titles. He can be Danny Amendola or Julian Edelman. Help me win some championships. It's all right. Bring them. And when I think that they can't get up to snuff, I bring in the next guy, and I bring in the next guy.
They're about to do that. They're about to do that with Gronkowski. I said it towards the end of the season that if they went on a run in the playoffs and won it all, that just made Gronkowski expendable. Now it depends on what happens with Bennett. Bennett's a free agent. The Dolphins have said they're going after him. The Eagles have said they're going after him. The Eagles have also said that they're going after Alshon Jeffrey. So you have some options here. Before I go, real quick, I know I gotta go, but there's a few. I love talking sports with you. You always educate me. You always teach me something every time I have you on the show. And you taught me 2 or 3 things today that I never knew. You taught me a shitload about women's college basketball. I'll give you that. Doesn't change my stance, but you did educate me, so I appreciate that. But I'm gonna give you a name, Deshaun Jackson, free agent this year. You know, getting a little long in the tooth, but can still take the top off of a defense. New England Patriots take a look at him, yes or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
He's not there. He's not ready. But why though? He's not ready yet? He's not ready to just mature yet?
No, for one reason. Because I don't think he can fit into the Patriot way of doing things and realize it ain't about you.
Yeah, okay. So he's not ready.
Yeah, exactly. Deshaun Jackson's not that point where Deshaun Jackson is not that point where you realize, you know what, there's going to be a game where you might get 1 target. But you better catch and do something with that 1 target. There might be a game where you get 8 targets. You got to realize the Patriots are not going to go for the Devo receiver. You got to realize the Patriot receivers are not. If you are a Devo receiver, you aren't going to last on this team. You just ain't. And I don't think Deshaun Jackson is where Randy Moss was when he was a Patriot. Because Randy Moss, for that one season, realized, if I just go with the program here, I'm going to get to play in the Super Bowl. So for that one season, Randy did very un-Randy-like things, kept his mouth shut and realized, when it's time for me to do my job, I do my job.
And catch 25 touchdowns while I do it.
Mm-hmm. But the point is, he realized when it's time for me to do, like every game, there's going to be games when my job is to just block and be a decoy. Do your job. Deshaun Jackson is not at that point because he still believes I got to be the centerpiece. And he's not going to be the centerpiece in New England. When you go to the Patriots, you realize it ain't about you. It's about this rock on our finger. There's only one person who it's about, and that's Mr. Brady.
Yeah.
And he even believes it ain't about him. Mr. Brady knows my day could be my day where I get tapped on the shoulder and says, "You've been traded, Tom. Sorry. But we got Garoppolo. You're 40 years old. Tom, it's time." He knows his day might be coming.
Two more years.
Everyone.
2 more names as quick as you can.
Okay.
Romo,
All right.
Adrian Peterson. Where they at? Where they at opening Sunday?
Tony Romo, most likely Chicago. Most likely Bears. Went to school up there, has peoples up there. It would be a good fit for the Bears because he's a quarterback. Tony Romo can win for you now. His problem is he needs to get that goldfish bowl in Dallas. And who's your other guy? Adrian Peterson?
They're going to cut him. They're going to wait him. He's due to make $17 million, 11 salary, 6 roster bonus. They're not paying him $17 million this year. He's not taking a pay cut. He will be a free. They will release Adrian Peterson in the next 60 days. Where's Adrian Peterson playing opening Sunday?
Adrian, believe it or not, Green Bay. Green Bay.
Wow.
They need a back.
Wow.
They need a back.
Wow.
Green Bay. I was about if Jay Ajayi hadn't shown out the way he did this year, I would have said Miami. Here's my thing about Adrian Peterson. He must play for a team that plays on grass. He cannot play for a team on artificial turf. That's risking his knee. At this point, you don't want him on turf. You want him on grass the majority of your season. You don't want him risking his knees anymore. So I could see Green Bay or here's another one, Arizona. Even though you've got Dave, that could take some pressure off David Johnson, knowing because Adrian Peterson is still a big game back, but he's not a 25 carry guy anymore. And tell you the truth, you don't want him to be a 25 carry guy anymore. Shoot, if we could make it fit, I'd love him in a Steelers uniform. If we could make the money work, I'd love to see him as a Steeler because we play on grass now. And we don't need to give him the ball 30 times. See, that's the one thing people have to realize with AP. AP has to go to a team that one, will not make him a workhorse, 2, has an established running back, but 3, realizes when I do bring AP in the game, AP will only get maybe 20 carries, but on 20 carries, AP can still get you 120 yards. And he can still has the wherewithal to turn a 20 carry. He can turn a 20 carry game into a 200-yard game. He still has the ability to do it, but he needs to be at a place where he's not the workhorse anymore.
When it came to Romo, you surprised me with Chicago. I'm thinking Houston or Dallas. I'm sorry. Houston or Denver, not Dallas. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Houston or Denver.
I could see those two. I could see those two. Mainly because Romo's got local connections to Chicago. Went to school Western Illinois, is from Illinois. Man, I think good fit for him. Good fit for him. And I also think it's a rebuilding opportunity, and it's a team where they can look at him and say, we're going to put. See, the biggest thing with Tony Romo is now, on second thought, I could see Chicago because a lot of people talk Chicago, but Denver, if you had to choose between Houston and Denver, take Denver. Because Denver's the most ready for him to win right now.
Right now.
Denver's the most ready.
Right now.
Denver's the most ready. Now, my only question is, can they get the numbers to work? Chicago can get the numbers to work for Romo because their coverage there. Denver has a lot of things offensive. A lot of people offensively. For example, can they get him to work and a deal for Demaryius or Sanders to work? And there's also a matter of you got to keep that defense together. And a lot of that defense is now past that rookie. For example, Shane Ray's past his rookie contract now. After this year, you got to find his numbers to work because he's worth some money. He's not worth Von Miller money, but you got to pay him. And if you're expecting to keep Aqib Talib after next year, which you kind of want to do, you got to find that money. A lot of that defense comes up in the next couple years contract-wise, and you got to find that money. Can you do that and bring in Tony Romo? That's what makes the NFL so interesting because money's got to work. Same thing with AP. You got to make the money work. Green Bay could make the money work. Green Bay could make the money work. Arizona, you have to do a little bit more, but I think the money can work there. But there's not a lot of teams. I mean, the only reason he couldn't be a Steeler is he couldn't make the money. We couldn't make the money work because you got to pay Antonio. And honestly, this year the Steelers need to go out and get a quarterback, and that's money.
Appreciate the love, homeboy. I do got to run, man. We're over the gun. I know Spreaker going off on me right now.
Hey, man, I'll check you out, partner.
Nah, I always learn when you're on. I appreciate the love and support, man. Take care out there, man. Try to stay out of that snow, man. Try to stay out of that.
The comedy show this week, partner.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. Yeah, listen, they booked me out till June, man. So I'm there this month, next month, May and June. So February, March, April, May, and June. They booked me out for 4 months, man.
Right now, I'm going to fly out to see you. I'm going to fly out to see you.
Come on out, Clinton. We'll go to Roscoe's. We'll go hang out in Hollywood. We'll hit up some clubs and some strip, whatever you want to do, bro. When you come out here, you like biking. I'll take you to the trails up in the mountains that people get in shape and run these damn trails in these mountains and ride bikes. You like that type of stuff. We'll go hang out, man. We'll go see the city, bro. Come on. Come out.
You got it. We're going to make this happen, baby, man. You have a good, hey, man, you keep it light, okay?
All right, kiddo. Peace. Good friend of mine, man. My man Carl Webb from ESPN, always dropping in from time to time. Good guy. Really, really good guy. Good knowledge, man. I told him I always feel smart. I learn when I talk to him. He's an older guy. He's been around. He's covered sport. You heard the stats this man throws out, especially against in the boxing. He starts talking about years and weight classes and knockout and what round it was. And that's how I am, man. I try to hold as much information and gather as much information as I can, so I'm not just spitting out numbers all the time. Numbers are cool, but I like situations and different incidences that happen and game moments and boxing match moments. Like, moments sometimes are bigger than the number, Sometimes you see a fighter lead 9 rounds in a fight, but then get knocked out in the 11th. So those numbers of him winning all those rounds, it doesn't matter if you get knocked out in the 11th. So that's what Carl brings to the show, man. So always appreciate having him on. We're gonna wrap up today, guys. That's enough. I don't want to brag. I don't want to ramble on and on and on and on. We talked the good and the bad about sports, and I learned something today about women's college basketball from K-Dub. I really did. I learned a little more than I knew. My stance still is where it is. It's softened a little because of the years and championships and different moments and situations that Carl brought up. But I still will look at this and just say, I don't think it's competitive sports. I don't think it's competitive basketball. I just can't. It's hard for me to really look at anything that they're doing and find 100 wins. It just tells me that there's just no other competition for the last 100 games. That's not good. We're seeing it in the NBA right now. If a team in the NFL, guys, won like 5 or 6 straight Super Bowls, that wouldn't be good for the NFL. That wouldn't be good for sports. You'd start to figure out what the hell is going on. What cheating are they doing? You can't, because it doesn't work that way. There's injuries. There's free agency. There's free agents leaving. There's free agents coming. There's a draft every year. You're not going to see anything like that. Yeah, you'll see a team get 2 out of 4, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 6, 3 out of... We've seen that in history before. But not 100 wins. Wilt scored 100 once. Kobe had 81 once. Second highest scorer game, only player other than Wilt to eclipse 80. Before then, Elgin's got 2 70-point games, I believe. 70-point plus games, a 73 and a 71, I believe, or just one. And then, of course, Mike and Kobe himself. I want to say Carmelo, or maybe it's LeBron. That has a 60-point game, a few 60 points in there. Stackhouse has got a 50. I don't know about 60. I think AI's got a... Does AI have a 60? Somebody find that out for me real quick. Does AI have a 60-point game in his career? No, he's got a handful of 50 joints. Just not sure if he's got that 60, man. Big L says, no Romo in Chicago, please. I will have a new team. That's not true. You Chicago people are real faithful to your squad. I feel what you're saying. You're not going to diss the Bears. I got no beef with the Bears. The Bears are one of them teams. I just think the NFL is a little better when they're good. The Bears, the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Giants. There's just some teams in the NFL that I honestly believe the league is a little better when they're good. Dallas, Green Bay, teams like that. The league is better, guys, whether you like it or not, when those teams are good. I got no beef with the Bears. I think Alshon Jeffrey's out. The Eagles have made it known they're going after him. The Eagles have made it known he's one of their priorities this offseason. They're going after him and Kenny Stills. The Dolphins have made it a priority to rework and restructure Juice so you can give Kenny the money, so we keep that camaraderie, we keep that going. They're going to go after a tight end. I like them to go after. The stories out of Miami are they're putting a full court press on Martellus Bennett. That's what I've heard. I've heard they're putting a full court press on Bennett, the tight end position. They can't get it fixed. They brought in Cameron from the Browns. That didn't work out. Concussions, can't stay healthy. And then you have Deion Sims, who's good, but Bennett's better. And then Deion still could go back into his role of being the backup or the second tight end in certain formations where guys just lose sight of you. Because you got 3 sets of eyes on Juice. And then you got a set of eyes or 2 on Kenny. And then you got a set of eyes on Tannehill. He's going to dump it to a giant in the backfield. And then you got Devontae Parker. And if you get Bennett, you got Sims. Sims is the guy who gets loose. Next thing you know, he's 15 yards open down the middle of the field. Because you got eyes so many other places. So there's going to be, and we'll get into football as the draft comes up. The combines first, then pro days and workouts, and then the draft. We'll get back into football. But right now it is basketball, and that's what we're running with right now on the show. And I hope I don't bore you guys too much with it, because the NBA is boring right now, but college basketball is great. But most of you don't watch college basketball. Good and the bad is about sports today. I want to appreciate everybody. Thank everybody. I appreciate you being in. G-Money, my favorite listener. My favorite listener is now G-Money. G-Money's taking over the number 1 spot. G-Money, my man, you are my favorite listener. Take it with a grain of salt, or you can take it with a baseball bat. Don't matter to me. Favorite listener is G-Money. Big L X Squad jumping in the building. We appreciate you today as always, bruh. Dre must be working. Dre must be on the road or something. He bouncing in and out today. Dre was bouncing in and out today. He needed to worry about his Eagles. Dre, I did not know you were a Laker fan. We got to talk about that down the line, man. Getting out of here, guys. God bless. I appreciate all the love. I guess I'll see you guys. I might do a show tomorrow. I should be on air tomorrow. That's the word. The word is I'll be on tomorrow. I'm not sure. Check your Facebook page. Also, pass the show on, people. I appreciate everybody supporting me. But pass the show on. You're more than welcome to put it on your social media. Tag it. Whether, hey, yo, listen to this dude. He corny. He do this. Listen to this guy's great. Whatever you say, doesn't matter. Pass it on for me. Remember, you can always pick up the podcast on iHeartRadio also, too, man. See you guys. See you guys tomorrow, guys. God bless, man. Go hug somebody today, y'all. Chill.
Cash in the sweat socks, check the sweat pots. Got nothing near the size of an Xbox. Y'all niggas bet not. Headshot, red dot. Your chicks are Betty and Wilma. Hear me? Make they bed rock. Get them, girl. My hat black and Italian wifey. Rock all colors, brother. My Italian icy. I say, hit them, girl. The diamonds out of diamond mine. I don't even like the rhyme, love, but love this life of mine. Glare at the gems. Yes, stare at them, friend. Take a good look, I swear. I won't wear them again. These are one-time wear. Earrings are one-time pair. One time for one time. Damn, look how one time stare. Space in Baltimore. Place the order, replace the quarter. Y'all the fiends are chasing waterfalls. Here's a O or something. Bro, you're so disgusting. Yes, your older buzz is number 1. No discussion. And you know I'm stunting. I got it all. Crack, coke, dope, scissor, Robitussin. The blam blammer with Santana. Lee Cam alone. For this man jam you. Scrams your damn camera phone. About to introduce his ass to the hammer phone. Smash 9, smile homes, dial tone. Flatline, gun in his mouth. Call that the chat line. For my niggas watches, that's how we pass time. I let the hammer spray. Them niggas ran away. You ought to join us and listen while Santana say.
Lights, cameras, action, movie script, cut. This is real live movie shit. From the tools we grip to the shoes we fit. It's nothing. We do this, kid. Coke, it's nothing. Dope, it's nothing. We got that smoke, you know, it's nothing. Dope, it's nothing. Hope, it's nothing. We got it for show, you know, it's nothing.
Hey yo, L, I got a body in the trunk. Why? Ain't no coke. Poppy in the slump, and I'm cocky with the pump. And the shotty kamikaze, body after body chump. Y'all probably getting jumped, I'm in the lobby getting drunk. And the weed produce a foul odor. Val sober, Poppy call, drought over. 028, old school, I top mine, cop mine. The block fine, Yahtzee, yacht time. I poly with Molly, asked mommy if Sherry could come to the crib, I live in Holly Berry Hood. Floors marble, cabinets cherry wood, dishes gem star, in other words, very good. Speaking of good, good with the semi, blow wood with the Henny in the hood like a Hemi nigga. You're too feminine, took over 2 tenements with cookies and cakes, the brand new intimates. We truly gentlemen, since I had the Grey Goose, now I mix Grey Goose with scissor, we gremlins. Cause a cake mix, 10 homes, 8 whips, but the 8 whips I'm about to trade for a spaceship. Call me NASA man, inside plasma fam. I got a warrant, I'm in orbit, come after Cam. You gotta adore it, I explore it, just like Dora. Take the order, gift wrap it, Bora Bora.
Lights, cameras, action, movie script, cut. This is real live movie shit. From the tools we grip to the shoes we fit, it's nothing. We do this, kid. Oh, it's nothing. Yo, it's nothing. We got that smoke, you know, it's nothing. Yo, it's nothing. Oh, it's nothing.